Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the quarterfinal fixture in the Rugby World Cup 2023 competition. 3 out of the 4 sides are now confirmed. England recently getting themselves the close win over Fiji, which means the winner of this contest will have themselves the matchup against the English in the semi-finals. The question is, will it be a repeat of a Six Nations fixture from 2023? Or will it be a rematch of the Rugby World Cup 2019 final between the Springboks and the English? But we will be looking through at the starting lineups. First of all, for the French, they have got a very strong looking side here. They come into this contest as favourites, and with a side like this, you can slightly understand why. Cyril Bay at number 1, Pieton Malvaka starting in at 2, a dangerous ball runner but also consistent when it comes to those lineouts, and then Yui Antonio at number 3, so a lot of oomph across the two props for this contest. Should be exciting seeing them go head to head with Kitsoff and Malharba. Cameron Waki at number 4, he has got a tough task ahead of him going up against Eben Etzebeth, and then Flamand will be slotting in as the number 5, Anthony Gelange at number 6, Charles Olivon at 7, and Gregory Aldrit starting in as the number 8. And I believe this game in the loose forward trio, it's going to be so crucial that both of the sides are physical in the breakdowns. I think that's been one difference maker in terms of those close contests that we've seen between New Zealand and Ireland, between Fiji and England. It's what the loose forward trio are able to do that helps the side towards the victory. Antoine Dupont returning at number 9. The man had his face dismantled only a few weeks ago, but he's already back. He was cleared to play, and I feel like that is either going to be a target for the Springboks, or that will be something that they have to try their absolute best to ignore the fact that he has got the sore face. It will be interesting. See how he goes here. Mathieu Jalibert at number 10, one of the best number 10s in the competition so far for this Rugby World Cup. He has been sensational. I do hope he has a solid game here. Number 12, Jonathan Dante, a crash ball specialist with a lot of size, going up against Damien Dialende with Galfiku on his outside. At number 13, the youngster, Louis Belbari, out on the left wing. Damien Pinot, who is currently close to the leading try scorer of the competition, out on the right wing, and Thomas Ramos to close out this French starting lineup. Then for the Springboks, they have made a few changes compared to what we first initially thought they would be going with. It is Stephen Kitsoff at number 1, Bonyo Manambi. Due to that injury of Malcolm Marks, he did become the first choice hooker, so he will be starting at 2 for this game. And then Franz Malharba at number 3. He hasn't had the best form throughout this Rugby World Cup, but is still a brilliant man when it comes to the tackling department. Has made 100% of the ones he has attempted throughout the competition. Eben Etzebeth at number 4, fired up and raring to go. It's pretty much the words that epitomise Eben Etzebeth when he does play in a game of rugby. Franco Mostert, he will be at number 5. His line-out turnovers could be massive for the Springboks in this in this quarter final matchup. Sia Khaleesi, the captain, at number 6, with Peretef Toy at 7, and Dwayne Vermeulen getting the nod at number 8, rather than Jasper Wiese, who has actually been left out of the 23-man side. But the last time we saw Dwayne Vermeulen play, he had the full 80 minutes, actually playing number 7, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes straight back. At number 8, Kobus Reinach, a man who got a hat-trick up against the Romanians, will now be starting at number 9, ahead of Faf de Klerk, who comes off the bench for this game, and Mani Lebok gets the start at 10. Now, that is probably the one that people have been talking about the most, in terms of the fact that they went with Lebok rather than Andre Pollard, but I believe because of the attacking play that Mani Lebok is able to offer for the Springboks, that is why they've decided to give him the nod in the start, have Pollard's stability and goal kicking to come off the bench. But Lebok, he's an attacking threat. If they can push the pace early up against this French side, Lebok versus Jalibert, it's going to be absolutely awesome to watch. Damien Dialende and Jesse Creel going with experience in the 2. In the midfield, Cheslin Colby out on the left wing, Kutli Aronsa out on the right, and then Damien Valimza to close out the starting lineup. He has been a very good player throughout this Rugby World Cup for the Boks, so I'm sure he will do well here as well. Right, we have got a lot of chat to read through. We have got already 5 gifted subs from Kerr. He has been a very generous individual, all throughout these live streams. So he gifted one to Faf, to Adil, Hannes, Glenn, and also we have got there for, where's the last one? Far, Adil, Hannes, Glenn. I don't know where your last one went, Kerr, but I believe that was 4 have come through. There's one missing. somewhere along the lines. But thank you very much, Q. Hugely appreciated. Once a weird only show 4 people get a membership. I was thinking same thing, 9-10 starters. Makes me think they're going to run the ball in the first 40. Says Justin, that's the thing. The Springboks, they will look to be attacking throughout that first half or so, mainly because we know with France, their kicking game is one of the best around in terms of being able to use Ramos's kicking. And okay, Box, your excuse is ready as usual. Says Vinton, no, I think this is just going to be an outstanding game of rugby. I hope that it's similar to the other matches that we have seen. Ireland versus New Zealand went down to the wire. Fiji versus England went down to the wire. And then also that game between Argentina and Wales. If it hadn't been for that interception try of Nicolas Sanchez, that one too would have been right down to the final whistle. Go the Bok. I hope this game lives up to the expectations. Yes, for all the quarterfinal games have been fantastic. And the Bok to win by 6, says Kevin. And we are sitting with Lebok and Reinach. Casual want to attack very early on. And then Fuff and Pollard will have a stability and control the game tempo. CSKB. Yeah, I think for the South Africans, Reinach and Lebok is the perfect example of we want to go out there and we want to throw as much at the opposition as we can early. Now, I should mention for the Springboks, in this game, they have actually gone with the 5-3 split, something we don't really see too often. But in this case, to be able to have Andre Pollard and Faf de Klerk alongside that little bit of extra cover of Willy Leroux, it meant that the Springboks did have to go with it. But for the French, it is Bulgaret in the front row alongside Reda Wardy and El Hegri. And number 18, the big man Roman Talfafanua coming off the bench at number 19. And Francois Cruz at number 20, Sekou Machalou at 21. So the French actually going with that 6-2 split. Now, they did announce their side maybe about 2 or 3 hours after the Springboks, if not maybe just a little bit later than that. I wonder whether or not seeing the Springboks bench had any sort of impact. Of course, you'd think they already had it chosen, but maybe it made a last-minute adjustment for what the French did go with. But it is not too often in a game of rugby that we see an opposition to the South Africans have more forwards off their bench than the Springboks themselves. Luku at number 22. Now that man, he would have had to be primed and ready to go just in case he has to play anywhere between 75 and 2 minutes for this matchup. He's either going to get to come on at the end if DuPont's looking strong, or he might end up coming on early if DuPont is not quite looking up to scratch. And that's going to be the big question mark for this French defence, is whether or not we can see DuPont making tackles around the side of the breakdown, because if you're the South Africans, you pick and go around that side every day of the week. And then Mofana, another strong ball runner at number 23, to more than likely replace either Fiku or Dante in that midfield combination. For the South Africans, Dion Fourie, the backup hooker at number 16, offers a lot when it comes to jackling over the ball, getting turnovers for his side. Looking forward seeing him get a few minutes. Oxnard and Vincent Koch, the two props that they have opted for, so no Trevor Nakanye off the bench in this contest. RG Snyman, one of the best offloaders around the world today in the lock-in duo. He will be either replacing Mostert or Etzebeth, and then there's also that chance that Mostert can transition to the loose forward trio, and that may be why they have opted to only go with those 5 forwards. Quagga Smith at number 20, Faf de Klerk, Andre Pollard and Willy Leroux, the last 3 players for the South Africans. So across those 3 positions, huge amount of experience. You're looking at Willy Leroux sitting on about 93 caps. Andre Pollard's got a fair few. Faf de Klerk recently bringing up his 50th cap for the Springboks. And maybe it's that experience near the end of the game that can help them over the line. How do you think DuPont will go? I think that's a great question. I think that's a question on a lot of people's minds. And to be honest, it's extremely hard to tell whether or not he comes back and just finds that momentum straight away, or whether he does struggle for a bit and then maybe start to find his flow as he gets towards the halftime. I think the big thing for Antoine Dupont will be that first initial big shot. Because we've got to remember, yes, his face is broken, but it's that body. When you get hit in the body and your head whips back or anything like that, that will also cause damage for Dupont. So, yeah, I think for South Africa, they want to put him under pressure early, try and make him feel uncomfortable out there on the field. That is the job of the likes of a Peter Steph du Toit, Dwayne Vermeulen, just to try and really rough him up a little bit. Thanks for the great commentary throughout the World Cup. I'll often watch Not Logged In, says Andrew. Well, thank you very much for being here, mate. It is greatly appreciated. And we have got all of the live streams from here on out for this Rugby World Cup as well. Do you think Fiji were robbed, says KB? I think that Fiji, they were close enough in that game that if they had taken one or two more of the chances, they would have walked away with the victory. So yes, they were unlucky in some regards. They were lucky in others, the likes of Vinaya Habosi's yellow card. That could have easily been a red based off what we have seen from the officiating throughout the rest of the Rugby World Cup. So I think Fiji, they'll be a little bit gutted that they weren't able to take one or two more chances that were on offer, but still a brilliant World Cup for the Fijians, having to dig deep in that game up against the English, and they showed they were up for the task. They just needed that one last play that would have helped them out. We have got Kinsani has said hi, welcome in, and there's merit to Fuff as a spare kicker though. I'm surprised they paired the 9-10 partnership, says Finton. And yeah, I do understand why they went with Lebok and Valimza though. I feel like if Pollard was to start, they would have had to start Vili Leroux, just because it seems to be Valimza Lebok work so well together that you wouldn't want to separate them from each other. And I guess that's from playing at the Stormers as well. You got that little bit of a background. In that regard, I all beyond excited, says Stormy. And while the poll is very one-sided for the Box, says JR, we do have quite a strong South African audience in terms of compared to the French. But yeah, the Springboks come into this game as underdogs, fun fact, and quite heavy underdogs, which I find quite surprising. I feel like they certainly will be close in this game, whether win, lose, or draw. This one's going to go down to the wire, and it should be an absolutely awesome one. Home advantage is worth an average 5 points to the home team, says Finton. And also, what's your prediction? I have predicted that the Springboks will win this game by, I think I said about 4 points or somewhere around there. I believe it's going to be a very close fixture between the two sides. I just can't quite remember what my exact scoreline was. I think it was like 25-19 or something like that. It might have been somewhere around there. You're certainly lucky, man, to get all those from Kerr, says Mornay. We certainly are. Let's give Hamish some likes on his live upload, says Cameron. Yeah, if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. The 9-10 channel for France will be rushed the entire game, says Charles, but it's whether or not Jalabert can handle that rush defence, because he is a class number 10. We've got to remember, it was supposed to be Intermac throughout this Rugby World Cup, but I feel Jalabert actually really stepped up to the task when it was on offer, and it's shown that maybe if Intermac isn't available, or if Intermac does take a while to come back, Jalabert will still be well and truly up for that task. And go Bok, how's it, Hamish from GQ? Says Sean, welcome in. I think Dupont's face will be numbed up before the game. Lots of meds, says Mark. And yeah, the thing is, for Dupont, like, we know a lot of players are already playing with injuries. Most of them you don't know about. Likes of knee injuries, leg injuries, arm injuries, shoulder. There's a lot of things that players have under the radar. Whereas for Dupont, you can't hide the damage that can be seen. He's got a black eye at the moment still. Now, he was going to be wearing a face mask, but I believe he's actually been cleared to not have to wear that. I could be wrong in that statement. I would like to think that he still has to wear it just for a little bit of the player safety side of things. And I think I've reached some kind of limit for gifting memberships, says Kurt. Is there a limit of like 50 gifted or something, Kurt, in that regard? Interesting. I didn't know that was even a thing. So it's going to be a Springbok versus All Blacks final, says Albert. That is a possibility. At the moment, you're doing a great job giving us play-by-play. USA, thanks, says P. Thank you very much. And I got butterflies. I hope South Africa has brought budgets or baguettes to the field. I think that is from Reggie. And also, Hamish, I know you live South Africa. When we win, please pull that tie, okay, says Chloe. And your commentary is always stellar, Hamish. Keep up the phenomenal work, says Bhavyesh. I will mention, I think I will end up, unfortunately, missing quite a few of the chat messages throughout this live stream. Definitely if the chat is going quick, but I will try my best to read out as many as physically possible. Hamish/chat, are we playing in the green and gold? I believe that the Springboks will be in the white kit for this match. I could be wrong in that statement, but I believe because, actually, France as the home team might wear white, and the Springboks may be in the classic green and gold. So, yeah, I'm not too sure which way it will go. I know that people didn't like the pattern kit that they had for their first game of this Rugby World Cup competition, so hopefully they don't have to wear that one. But speaking of the first games of the competition, ladies and gentlemen, looking through at what France and South Africa have done so far throughout their Rugby World Cup campaigns. For the French, they were able to win their first game up against New Zealand, 27 points to 13. Now, that game was close at halftime, but it was the clinical nature of the French being able to take their chances in the second half. And I honestly believe that that was down to New Zealand trying to play that kicking game up against France. That is something South Africa will not want to do here. Then they were able to win their game up against Uruguay, 27 points to 12. Now, I should mention in both of those two games where they scored 27 points, they were unable to get themselves the winning bonus point, just getting the 3 tries in both. Then their game up against Namibia, They got more than 3 tries, that is for sure. 96 points to 0. The most one-sided affair that we have seen throughout this Rugby World Cup competition, and 60 points to 7 their last game up against the Italians. If Italy had pulled off the upset, they would have been through to the quarterfinals, but France showed that they are exactly where they should be in the quarterfinals of a home World Cup, looking to take out the defending champs. And the defending champs, they have had quite the World Cup pool stage. They were in a tough group alongside Scotland, Ireland, Tonga and Romania. They won the first game up against Scotland, 18 points to 3. Getting a very nice win to start their World Cup campaign, 76 points to 0. Their win over the Romanians. Then that game up against the Irish, 13 points to 8. It was the defeat for the Springboks. But as we know from 2019, they have lost a group stage match. Then they have gone on to win the entire World Cup. And then 49 points to 18. Their last game up against the Tongans, they did actually concede 3 tries throughout their match, which was the most of the Rugby World Cup so far. But I believe that may have been down to the free-flowing nature of that game. I think it's going to be a lot more structured in this contest up against Les Bleus, and they'll be looking to get themselves some early points on the board. And with the backline that they've got, they certainly do have that potential. There are a lot more messages in the chat that is for sure. What time is the kickoff? So it is going to be taking place in only around the 82 minutes or so, which sounds like a long time, but we've still got a lot of stats to look through at and look at how this match is going to be shaping up. But it will be kicking off at 9 p.m. South African time for the commentary side of things. Hi Hamish, hi everyone, says Tanya, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you've been enjoying these quarterfinals. There have been some massive matchups. And also, what time is kickoff? I just realized my math was extremely wrong. It's 75 minutes till the match does take place. Have you a new suit for the final? I don't think I could afford to get a new suit for the final. At this stage, I don't even have the suit pants on, but we might have a new tie for the final. Bats would be a nice little bit of a switch up in green and gold kit. And not sure, I've gifted just over 50 memberships today. Says Kerr, is it your credit card that's told you off, Kerr? In that regard then maybe, or maybe YouTube think you're some sort of like scammer, but you spam memberships or something. I don't know. I feel like YouTube might be a bit worried that you're going to take them all back, which we know that you won't. And you have been very generous all throughout these ones. We have got a donation from Finton as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. The €2. That's euros, isn't it? €2.49. Cheers, mate. Do hugely appreciate that. Tell you what, I'm like 100 messages behind. Right, I've had to skip about 100 messages, ladies and gentlemen, so I do apologise. Are you going to talk till kickoff? Well, says John, we certainly are. There's so much to break down in this Rugby World Cup. And the fact we've already been going for 17 and a half minutes, and it feels like we have only just talked about the lineups and then looked a little bit at the tactics for these two sides, shows exactly how quick it's going to go. But looking through at the quarterfinals, ladies and gentlemen, first game was Wales versus Argentina. Wales considered the home side, and they did qualify just that little bit higher than Argentina in their group stage fixtures, but Argentina pulling off the upset, 29 points to 17. So on day number 1, it was actually the two Southern Hemisphere sides who both came in as underdogs and both caused the upsets. New Zealand winning their game up against Ireland, game of the tournament so far. I think a lot of people would agree. The fact that Ireland had 30 plus phases at the end of that game just to build the intensity, build the feeling of what could have been a later game in the Rugby World Cup. It was absolutely phenomenal, and both sides got to take their hats off to it because very good game of rugby. 30 points to 24, only 6 points difference there between England and Fiji. They just finished playing, ladies and gents. And then alongside that, of course, this game coming up now, it is less than 2 hours away, I should mention, though. That was when the screenshot was taken. As you can see, France coming in as $1.75 favourites over the South Africans, who are $2.10 underdogs. But for me, I would honestly have both sides $1.87 both ways. It could go either way. France have the home field advantage, of course, in front of the Stade de France. But we have seen from their first couple games of the Rugby World Cup, they are susceptible to when they haven't quite got that momentum flowing. That is when the opposition can sometimes find that impact. But France, I also should mention, scoring over 150 points in their last 2 outings. South Africa, though, they'll be fired up, ready to go for this contest. They are the world champions. They want to do it again in France as well. Would be a massive tip in the cap of the Springboks side. Look at there, hi Kiwi, says BDK, welcome in. Can show us your fit today, says BDK. So I have just got the tie, the suit, the shirt, and then my pants, and then some fancy looking socks. Did you ever play rugby, says Shay? I did when I was a lot younger. I was out on the wing because I was quick. Then I got slow and also bigger, so then didn't really get a chance to play too much. Plus, I was just tackling out. Our backline didn't pass the ball. Paris will be silent. Says Denzel, I can guarantee you right now, they will not be silent one bit, because I've seen a lot of Springbok supporters have made the trip over, and they will be shouting from the rooftops for their men in the green and the gold. And as by my name of green colour this time at Common Box says, Vishal, you actually got gifted a membership from Vishal, so you now have access to the exclusive emojis on the channel. So be sure to put some of those through. Kiwi lads, spending is at £200. Most in day one was £600. I don't think my bank noticed it anymore. Definitely a YouTube gifting issue. Says Kurt, well, they're probably not used to people gifting 50 memberships. They probably haven't really experienced that too much at all. But yeah, can say it's certainly a first that we've had a Kiwi lads member / viewer / moderator / subscriber / pretty much everything that you are, Kerr, max out the amount of memberships that you can gift. We have got the Hamish emojis from Ian Foster. You were also gifted one by Kerr. Fun fact, Ian Foster. And I have one France to win, so they can beat England. And also we have the donation from Stormy. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated for your donation as well. Looking through at how this group stage started for France and for South Africa. Now, the Northern Hemisphere team in all of the quarterfinals have been undefeated after their group stage fixtures. France are no different, sitting 4 from 4. Their points differential was slightly worse than New Zealand, but they did win themselves all of their games, getting 2 bonus points along the way. That was up against Italy and also up against the Namibians. Then for South Africa, they did finish second in their group. Their points differential plus 117, only having that narrow loss to the Irish, who are now not in this Rugby World Cup anymore. We have seen them get knocked out, which now opens the door for the Springboks to be the only side in Pool B who make their way through to the semi-finals. And like I said, they will be taking on the English, so it will be a rematch of the Rugby World Cup final in 2019. As you can see, the odds are already in for New Zealand versus Argentina. Now, I should mention, since that has happened, that I did take that picture. That was yesterday. The odds have actually increased. Argentina now more of an underdog than the New Zealanders, who do sit as heavy favourites. England versus Fiji, that did just take place, and we did see the English get themselves the narrow victory, so they will go head-to-head with the winner of this France versus South Africa game. Like I said, it can either be a rematch of the Six Nations, or we could end up seeing perhaps a rematch of the World Cup final. In the chat as well, we have got there box 13 plus, says Defunct, tell you what, that would be a massive statement for the Springboks. But the thing is, when you look through at some of their team in their backline, Marnie Lebok, the attacking prowess that he offers to this box side, if he is somehow able to just unleash that fury on the French backline, like, we could see a high-scoring contest. I think that a lot of importance is going to be riding on Jonathan Dante for this game, because we've got to remember he's not just one of those men in the midfield for France that runs the ball hard, that gets a few extra meters. He is also one of those main guys who managed to get those turnovers for the French. He's actually had 3 in one game, and I believe it was up against New Zealand in the opening fixture that he was able to do so. We have got there, come on the box, says Mateo, and who is the ref? Says Cornell. So for this matchup, in terms of the referee, it is going to be Ben O'Keefe. Now, he was actually the same referee as the game between South Africa and Ireland in that group, so some people may remember him there. But then also alongside him in his refereeing department, it is Paul Williams, it is James Dolman, and it is Brendan Pickerel. So actually an all New Zealand refereeing panel for this matchup. And what made you think the Boks will edge at the bench? Says Sergey, I should say. I honestly believe that their bench is looking like the stronger of the two. Plus, I think in their 4-pack, I just see them as that little tiny bit of an edge. Now, that's not saying that Charles Olivon, Gelange, and Aldrit won't do well. I just feel like there's that little bit more of a chance that we see Dwayne Vermeulen or someone like that really step up for the South Africans. Is this a game? Says says where? Hopefully I said that correctly. But sadly, due to licensing, we are now unable to show match footage or audio, but we will be doing the live commentary all throughout. We have got a gifted membership from Kerr. He's obviously fixed it, whatever the problem was. And also, Bok has been set by Starboy, and it is Cornell DeToy who gets the membership from Kerr as well. So thank you very much, Kerr. Hugely appreciate it once more. Great commentary. Hamish, go the Bok from Simon near Cape Town. And they are watching the Bok all the way, and Fiji beat themselves. Hope the Boks don't do the same, says Running Stories. So currently the Springboks They do come into this game, like I said, as underdogs, but I am curious, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to give a score prediction, sitting currently 1 hour, 5 minutes away from the kickoff, who would you say the momentum is in favour of? Who do you think is going to be the side that walk away with the victory in this quarterfinal? We have got a donation from Herman as well. Thank you very much, mate, because you're a Kiwi and I'm South African. This is the money for the final. When you feel down after the loss, respect for a proper final, or respect to a proper final between the Boks and the Kiwis, says Herman. And they're all, thank you very much for your donation, mate. Hugely appreciate it. As you guys know, though, I am impartial when it comes to the live streams for the commentary, but that would be an absolutely incredible way to close out the Rugby World Cup. Can't you give England credit? Says Mark Smith, and also much appreciated, says Cornell. And also France can score 22. Says Luca, there's a possibility. I think that France will back themselves to get in the 20s throughout this game. And Herman, gentlemen, absolute gentlemen, says Kerr. And there as well, and also South Africa fan here, not confident, think France will win, says Coach's Corner. So who is the player in that French lineup, Coach's Corner, that you would say is the one you're looking at the most as the danger? I know some people would say Dupont in this case, but I wonder whether or not there are a couple of those other players in that lineup that could cause a real impact. The likes of a Thomas Ramos at the back and Boca to take this by 14 points, says Gamblers Express. Ref slept in the French hotel last night, says John. And also, this has been a great Rugby World Cup so far, says TK. The thing is, these quarterfinals, I feel, have almost outlived the expectation of the games, because with the way that it matched, with the way that it matched up, with Pool C going up against Pool D and Pool A going up against Pool B, it's a little bit of a shame that we're going to see two of the top four sides around the world get knocked out in these quarterfinals because of the fact that they're all going head-to-head, but it's meant for a much more intriguing fixture on the other side of the draw when it came to Argentina versus Wales, and then also Fiji versus England was a great thrilling contest as well. And at least England can be happy about the rugby, got thumped again in the cricket. Says, so yeah, I did see that they lost to Afghanistan. I love your accent when you speak foreign, Amish, says Dylan, and we write off France because, like Ireland, they always choke when it really matters, says New Zealand for life. And to be honest, I've got a lot of pressure on them for this game. We've got to remember it's in front of a home crowd at their Stade de France. The difference between the picture behind me and the game when it takes place, this is going to be completely packed out with French screaming fans alongside the South Africans. I know that Rugby Itch, the man who we do our predictions with, he is actually going to be at the game. He is pretty boy, says Mark Smith. And there as well. Surely you're not talking about myself, Mark. I doubt it anyway. Maybe Fuff. I know that people say Fuff de Klerk. But then saying that, like, if he gets a big hair sponsor later on, he'll be absolutely loving it. New Zealand versus Ireland, England versus Fiji has been amazing rugby games. Hopefully we see another great game, says Cornell. And Etzebeth said he wants to get a little bit physical with the soft Frenchie, says Xander. And that's somewhere where South Africa can use that physicality to their advantages. If they are able to be physical early on, try and force them back in those breakdowns, get in there, cause disruptions, that is when the Bok are at their best, when they are able to stop the opposition from playing their natural game of rugby. Now, France, I've mentioned about it already. I believe they'll be going for a kicking game in this matchup relatively early anyway, to try and push the Springboks back into their own territory, make the Springboks kick the ball into touch, and then that's when they go for the lineouts and then try and get that set play going. But I think the Springboks are going to make it very awkward for the French, because you don't know with the Springboks, with this lineup that they're selected, are they even going to look to kick? Or is it going to be only when they're deep inside of their own 22 that they will consider it? And then maybe Reinach starts sniping around the side of the breakdown, running straight at Dupont, test him out early. And Reinach 2 tries. And our box says Kim. And heaps of Irish. Where'd that go? Heaps of Irish at the game didn't help them against New Zealand. Crowds mean nothing. Says New Zealand for life. And also Fuff is still going to win this with his fabulous hair, or fabulous hair and cheekiness. You're in the groove, famous Hamish, says Bruce. And there as well. And go the Bok. We love you, says Darius. And where are you located? North Island or South Island? I am in the South Island of New Zealand. So I'm about halfway up. We're currently sitting 3 degrees Celsius here in New Zealand. So it would be nice if it got a bit warmer before too late in the day. Imagine Dupont was South African or Fuff de Klerk's here. Says Krampus, it would be an interesting combo. That is for sure. And also, what do they feed these players? Solid as a killer whale. Boom. Says Review, there's some big boys out there on the field. And it's not just the South Africans who are huge. Like, you look through at that French four-pack at someone like a Cameron Walkie. Like, he is built to go well in this contest. Him versus Etzebeth, though, the fact that they're going head-to-head is It's going to be absolutely awesome. And Hamish, you will be my main memory of this World Cup. You're a legend. Go the box, says Simon. And there as well. And Kerr has also donated the 20 pounds. And some love for Hamish, says Kerr there. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. When is the game starting? We are just under 60 minutes away. So it does sound like a while, but we've still got quite a bit to look through. Talking about these two selections, why they have done what they have, and what we think in terms of how this game will end up going. Buffalo's wearing a thong. I don't know where it's a thong. It's the budgie smugglers, isn't it? Quite popular in Australia, down south. And the Pont are going to get cracked like Humpty Dumpty, says JP. Although the Springboks can't let that be the only thing on their mind for this contest, because if they are heavily focused on Faf de Klerk, on Dupont, if they can get that ball out wide and start opening up that space, perhaps with the little bit of extra attention on Dupont, it may cause gaps elsewhere. But then also, the other side of things is they can't afford to hit Dupont high, because if they hit him in the head, everyone will know about it. We have got there, I think you should do a poll to test the live stream of you attempting to build a chair, says Kerr. It could be an idea. Maybe a member-only stream. Could be an idea throughout the week, how we try and put together the chair. Me and George, that would be a fun combo. I'll see what I can do, Kerr. If that is something you guys are keen on, a member-only chair building live stream, do let me know. Why are they early? Or why are we that early? The game is still 1 hour away, says Running Stories. That is because anytime I try and fit all of the build-up that we have planned into 1 hour, we run out of time. And I end up pretty much not getting to get all of the talking points across. So that is why we have to go so early on these ones. Plus, it's the quarterfinal. You know, we've got a big build-up planned in terms of building the atmosphere and getting ready for what is going to be an absolutely awesome game. We did it with the All Blacks game yesterday up against Ireland. That hour and a half absolutely flew by. We've already been going for 32 minutes on this live stream here. Bok Packs will be like no other before it, says Gavin. And I like Reinach. I think he's quick on the ball and his vision is great, says Morgan. And he's not afraid to have that run round the side of the breakdown, which is something that Faf de Klerk, don't get me wrong, every once in a while we get to see that little bit more of an attacking urgency from de Klerk, but it does seem to be that Reinach will play fearless rugby round that side of the breakdown, similar to what we see at the moment for New Zealand with Cam Roigard. A bit of time beforehand to chat and feel the love, says Kerr. And there as well, and I actually love New Zealand YouTubers. I'm a massive Viva La Dirt League supporter, says Jane there. And what time does the game start? So we'll be kicking off at 9 p.m. South African time. So in around 56, 57 minutes, somewhere around there. Reinach is super quick. Only Grant Williams is quicker, says Charles. And I believe that the reasoning behind Reinach and the starting side, I believe, is not just based off current form, but I guess with the fact that he can also drop out to the wing, it meant that him and Grant Williams, very similar players for the way that the Springboks are going to be playing in this game. Evan has got the Halloween emojis in there as well, and Reinach is super quick. I know I read that one, didn't I? And Porte has got away with a lot recent times. Glad to see Barnes punish him for a change. Are we ready for sad faces tonight, says Just Carl. Well, that depends whose faces are going to be sad. I feel like up until the final moments of the game, both sides are going to be pretty happy, because any game in these quarterfinals has proven it goes down to the wire, and it's what you do in that last 10 minutes that could determine whether or not you win the game. New Zealand, they were up by 13 up against the Irish, and then Ireland fought right back. Argentina, they were down by quite a few up against Wales. They fought back. Fiji, they were down by 14. They got it back to a draw near the end of the contest. So anything can happen in those final moments. And that's why it's so exciting in these Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. I'll be honest, I feel like they've outlived the expectations, and I hope that this game is the same. Hopefully it does run smoothly. We get some free-flowing rugby between these two sides. So terrified about the Boks losing points on kicks. I said this since day one, truly terrified. One kick could be the difference, says Gavin. If it makes you feel better, Gavin, last game that Marnie Libbok came off the bench, 3 from 3 in his kicking accuracy. Now, you could argue that maybe it was better because of the fact that the pressure was off, but I would also say at this point, with the fact that Andre Pollard has been back in the camp, I think he's probably heavily helped Marnie Libbok, and he'll be trying to build up his confidence. I'm kind of going see-through. At the moment, we might have to adjust that a little bit so that we don't completely disappear. One moment, we'll go like that, and we will go like that. There we go, that's a little bit better. The sun's actually trying to come out here, which is a welcome surprise. And goodbye, South Africa, says The Reckoning, and New Zealand will thump South Africa. Whoa, I look see-through. This is very strange. Should be all right, though. We will be continuing this live stream, even if we are half disappearing. ladies and gents, on this live stream. Hello again, hoping for a close game, says Dave Baird. I'm just trying to work out this lighting, ladies and gents. Why am I so invisible? We'll go like that, like that, like that. Somewhere around there. I might actually turn off this light for now. That might help. Hasn't really. I'm very, very dark. I feel like I'm getting faded away somehow. And also, let's just call you Vanish, Hamish, says Bruce there. And also, we've got the South Africa only beating New Zealand. And when they were, are you turning into a ghost, says Evan. And also, you are a ghost. And also, we've got the next curve package as blackout curtains. I certainly need them because I still don't have a curtain on that side. And at the moment, I feel like it's heavily affecting the lighting on this live stream. So we'll go back to about there. And we will hope for the best. And Ghost Hamish says Azza. And there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And also we've got that on the edge of the Kunini River, says Jan. And also they got smashed home and away when New Zealand were at full strength. And Hamish the friendly ghost. And you never know what can happen when you face Lost Pumas. That is exactly right. The Pumas are a tough side. That are definitely a dangerous outfit and could go a long way in this competition, depending on how their game goes up against the All Blacks. We have got there, it's a dull moment, says, and they're from Hansi, and also, how can you say the Box will win? Did you not see how poor they were against Ireland, says Daniel. I would say that their performance up against Ireland really didn't show us the full potential of the Springboks. And to be honest, that game, with the fact that they were only down by 5, they had their moments where they could have possibly walked away with the victory. So I still feel, even with that game, the Springboks since then probably have found a way of being even stronger than they were at the start of that contest. Just from the little adjustments that they have made, result speaks volume. Get your tissues ready, mate, says Brett in there as well. Although I think from this quarterfinals, what we have seen is it doesn't matter if you win 17 games in a row, quarterfinals are the quarterfinals. And if you don't get them right, you do go home. Sorry, Ireland, had to bring it up. We missed 11 points, David, says Credy. And also Daniel, the Irish went home. Have you forgotten so soon? Says Grant, exactly right. It's unpredictable, this Rugby World Cup competition. Mox have to watch out wide. Only try for Ireland was that lob over the top, says Gavin. And can't wait for the Box to send Farrell and his arrogant home second time, says Hennis. And I swear Hamish was a South African. If I didn't know he was a Kiwi, says New Zealand for life. What altitude they playing at? I don't think it's any real altitude in this game. It is just at the Stade de France once again. I'm not too sure how high that is off the turf, but yeah, overall it should be good free-flowing running rugby between these two sides. 25-15 for France. Score prediction of the Kiwi lad. I believe I predicted the Springboks to win by 5 or somewhere around there, but I can honestly see France also walking away with the victory, which is why it's going to be so important to start this match well for these respective sides. Kerr, the Santa Claus, says Justin there. We will show once again the starting lineups for these two sides and what there is to look forward to in the early stages of the game. Sirobai at number 1, Piotr Malvaka at 2, and Yui Antonio at number 3. A very strong combination for the French here. I believe Baye and Antonio at scrum time is going to be when the intrigue comes in. When they're up against Malharba, when they're up against Kitsov, they will be looking be relatively dominant. Cameron Waki at number 4 and Flamand slots in at number 5. I think Cameron Waki, in terms of this 4-pack, could be the X-factor player that the French do require. Anthony Gelange at number 6, Charles Olivon at number 7, and then Gregory Aldrich slotting in as the number 8 man from La Rochelle. Now, La Rochelle are a side that have found quite a bit of success lately. I believe that's just with the physicality that they bring. They've also got Big Will Skelton, some of you would have seen from the Australians World Cup, up until, of course, did end up with that injury, but they just have that aggressive nature of getting in each breakdown and trying to get the ball straight back, not allowing phases to build, and that is what France will have to do here up against South Africa. Stop them from getting that free-flowing rugby and try and make it a gritty, grindy ruck. Antoine Dupont returning at number 9 after his facial injury a few weeks ago. He has been cleared to play. He may have a mask on. I'm not too sure what the regulations are for Antoine Dupont here, but hopefully he will be 100%, because I know that for South Africa, they want to go up against what they consider the best side in terms of who they could play. And Antoine Dupont being a part of that is certainly a way to do so. Melvin Jaminet, in fact, that's not the name. It is instead going to be Mathieu Jalibert as the starting number 10 at fly half. That's actually a name. Jaminet is not playing in this game, ladies and gents. Just had the realisation. Jonathan Dante and Galfiku going to be in the midfield. Dante over the ball, one of the best at inside centre throughout World Rugby. And then Galfiku on his outside offers a lot of pace. Also will offer a lot of support. Belpari out on the left wing, a young superstar for the French. Does enjoy the chance of running that ball out wide. He'll be going head-to-head with Kutli Arinsa. Now, I feel like on that side, they might find themselves quite a bit of space, but it's whether or not they can hold on to that ball for long enough that the support comes for the line break. Damien Pinot out on the other wing, try-scoring superstar out on the right. He is a very handy player to have for the French and could actually be the man who gets in the first try in this fixture. And then Thomas Ramos at number 15 to close out what is a strong French starting lineup. In the chat, we have got a whole heap of more messages. And where does kick off? It is in 50 minutes time. So we are getting very close now, ladies and gentlemen. We have got the, I hope the box are fit enough for the French, says Hansi. And I think because of how long this competition has been going now, it is going to be in that scenario of both of these sides should be up to peak conditioning. Now, some players have had quite a few games. We look at Oxnard, actually the only South African player to play in every single game of this Rugby World Cup campaign. Whereas for France, we've seen a few of these younger guys, the likes of Jalibert, at number 10. He's had quite a few minutes throughout the competition. We've seen Pinot pick and choose in terms of what games they do decide to use him. We need to shut the crowd up early with some quick points, says the Soak. And also Rugby is the winner on the day, says Sai, and Jalibert is class. Let's see how he does versus a good defence, says Charles. And hello, people, says Fleshin. And I hope the box are fit enough. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Arguably the best pack in the world against the best backline in the world, says Brett. So yeah, there's a lot of best in the world taking place in this contest. And I should mention, if France win this game, I believe it was Kerr who let us know they would actually be number one in the world if that is the way that this result goes. So France would not only make it through to the semi-final, but also get a little bit more advanced in the world rankings. South Africa, I believe, have a chance of also getting close to number one in the world, but they might be second in the world if they pull off this victory. Thanks, mate, says Prosperity. And also we have got there, where can I watch the match live? Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on your options. I know that in South Africa, SABC Plus seems to be the best option. Also, if you are anywhere else in the world, though, be sure to check out the Rugby World Cup website. That will give you the where to watch options depending on where you are. And there are a few options around for being able to watch it. The actual game help me, says Alex. So yeah, if you go on the Rugby World Cup website, you should have your best option for Dubai of where to be able to watch. Thanks so much, says JJ. No worries at all. And also we have got there, why do France fans think South Africa will be walkovers? Are they crazy? We are defending champs, says Just. Yeah, I think this game is a lot closer than a lot of people are going to anticipate. I only see either side winning it by less than 7. And I would be very surprised if anyone is able to get a hugely extensive lead. And Box need to get the breakdown quick. French going, where'd that go? French going, gonna want to steal the ball, says Hansi. And 62 million South Africans are right there with our boys, and the Springboks know it. And we're betting we see in the move in this game, says John Rizzo. Is that the move that I think it is, or am I the wrong way around? Was it the move of Andre Pollard to 12, John, or is that a different one? In this case, if Box win, they'll be number one, surely, double points, says Charles there. And I pray for the Box, says Dan. And also Mark Lemon Water, says Chloe. And a message to Springboks supporters, I hope your team wins, says Bruce with a big smiley face. And of course, if the Springboks do get themselves a victory in this contest, ladies and gentlemen, they will be going on to face off against the winner of this game, which was England. So it could be a Rugby World Cup rematch, or it will be a rematch of the Six Nations matchup between England and France from earlier on in 2023. Now, we've already got a rematch from earlier in 2023 on the other side of this semi-final draw, with Argentina going head-to-head with New Zealand and what should be a pretty awesome game. But that one is taking place early on Saturday morning New Zealand time, so that will be a 9 p.m. kickoff on Friday night for this matchup for anyone in South Africa. For anyone in France, I believe it is either 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. that the game will be taking place. Then the winner of this contest will face England. That will be the early fixture, or late in the evening for you guys in South Africa. And France, that will be at 9 or 8 p.m. And it's going to be an awesome way to close out Saturday night. Now, I should mention after this game is finished, ladies and gents, we have only got 4 more games remaining of the Rugby World Cup, but whoever wins this contest is guaranteed 2 matches, whether that is going through from your semi-final to the 3rd place playoff game if you do get defeated, or going on to the final if you do get that victory in the semi-final. But whoever goes home here, they will have no more games of their Rugby World Cup campaign. The competition will be over, and it's a shame that one of the top 2 sides, or one of these sides in the top 4 around the world, their World Cup is going to be coming to a close. There is, please, not Pollard at 12, says Stefan, and also France will croak, says Leon, and also we have got Lebok lost the game against Ireland because he missed his kicks, says FaZe, although you could also argue there were a few other moments throughout that game that cost South Africa that contest. Unfortunately, there were a few handling errors along the way, but I don't think Mani Lebok can take the sole credit for the reason South Africa lost, because at the end of the day, they only scored 1 try up against an Irish side that have conceded tries throughout the Rugby World Cup. In fact, if you look at it, just blaming Mani Lebok, you could also say Romania scored the same amount of tries as South Africa, so what were the rest of the backline or the forwards doing in that case? You know, we can't just blame one player in that contest. I feel like Mani Lebok, he's had enough stick as it is. He's still a brilliant player, and ever since he has joined the Springboks, has actually caused a lot more tries to be scored. And it was one of the reasons the Springboks had such a good try-scoring average throughout 2022 and 2023. France lost to Ireland, says NZ for life, and the move is where South Africa sets up an unexpected driving maul in the French 22, says John there. Oh, a bit of an old school one there. And South Africa have been making stupid mistakes when close to the line, says Gavin. I feel it's always been awesome, the stressful when the All Blacks and South Africa play and come on the block. South Africa used to play under pressure, says JJ, and also Ireland. And also if England, says Goose Step. So he's not too happy about the English making their way through. Tell you what, Fiji were close in that game, weren't they? And that's the thing with all of the games of the quarterfinals. Any side up till that last about 5 minutes has a chance of winning it. Good morning, all you beautiful people, says Jad, and playing as a team and use the wings more than previous games, says Hillary. Exactly right. They've got world-class players on the outside, whether that's Cheslin Colby, who, to be honest, has probably had a little bit more of a quieter Rugby World Cup than he would have liked. He would have loved to have his hands on the ball a lot more often. And then Kurtley Arunsa out on the other wing, scoring that cross-kick try from the first game up against the Scottish Springboks. Have the talent and experience, says Riyad. And yeah, I think for France, in front of a home crowd, this is certainly going to be a great test for them, see whether or not they can pull off a victory, because I believe when these two sides played in November in France, it was the French who were able to get the victory. Now, I could be wrong in that statement, but I believe that was the case. So they'll feel a little bit quietly confident, and this is why I'm happy to go out to a dodgy ref call close to Victor Argentina rather than getting spanked as usual by the ABs, says Fleshin. And then also Colby and Reinach knows some of these French players, says Hansi. Yeah, there's quite a few of these fellows for South Africa who have played in France or at least gone head-to-head with a few of the French players throughout their career. The Blue Beast 2.0 said, remember me, lad. I believe so. If I'm not wrong, you are the one in America. Am I correct? I'm on the one from Fiji and Wales. Maybe I'm thinking of the older one that we had. But yeah, Fiji versus Wales. First game for both of those sides in the Rugby World Cup. And guess who's back? Says the Blue Beast 2.0 there. And either do you ever read my comments? I try my best. Although if you have noticed, there are quite a few other ones that are going through as well. And I can only talk so fast. Are you back in the French or the box? Says Riyad. In this game, I believe that the Springboks will show why they did win that last Rugby World Cup, and they will be able to sneak it in the final moments of the contest and get themselves the win by only a few points. The stadium will be full whether France win. I did on the guy who was asking you a weird question 1 month ago, says the Blue Beast. And also we've got our game managed now to watch it on Rugby Pass in Dubai. Thanks so much, says Alex. No worries at all. Hopefully you do enjoy the game. Of course, getting closer and closer. Please show the South African team, says Stull. We were just about to move on to the Springboks and show exactly who they have got on the field. In the starting lineup, it is Stephen Kitsoff and number 1, Bongio Manambi as the number 2, and Franz Malaharba starting in at 3. So overall, pretty similar to what we would see for the Springboks, no matter who they were playing in the top 10. They do enjoy having Kitsoff and Malaharba as that starting combo, and then Bongio Manambi to go in between them due to that injury of Malcolm Marx. Now, I should mention there is no Marco van Staden in this game, so we will not see him as a hooker option, but Bongio Manambi starting, and Dion Fourie will be the man comes off the bench. Eben Etzebeth at number 4 with Franco Mostert starting in at 5. His line-out steals are something that is massively impactful for the way that the Springboks are able to play. We saw it up against the Irish in the early stages. Ronan Kelleher actually sitting about 0 from 4 for his first lineouts in that game. That was down to the pressure that the Springboks were applying. Siya Kolisi, the captain, he is at number 6. He had a great game last week. We wanted to step up once more here for his side. Peter Steph-Toy at number 7. Didn't play in the last contest, so he will be fresh for this one. And Dwayne Vermeulen, he actually played 7 in the last game up against the Tongans. Now going back to number 8, where he does feel the more comfortable. In the back line, Kobus Reinach and Mani Libok, the 9-10 combo. Certainly something that some weren't anticipating for the Springboks to go with here, but it is a combination that is based around attack rather than defence. Reinach sniping runs, getting himself a hat-trick in that game up against the Romanians. Mani Libok has such an attacking style that is very hard to predict whether or not he's going to go for a cross kick, whether he's going to run it himself, find an offload, and that is why he's got that nod in the starting lineup ahead of Andre Pollard, who will be coming off the bench to offer stability near the end of the game and perhaps knock over that match-winning kick. Damien Dialende at number 12 and Jesse Kriel 13. They had a decision to make whether they wanted to go with Dialende and Kriel or whether they wanted to try out Andre Esterhuizen and Kane Moody. Now, they have gone with the more experienced option out of those two combos. I'm not sure whether or not we will see Kane Moody or Andre Esterhuizen get too many more minutes throughout this Rugby World Cup if the Springboks do keep on progressing, definitely if this combo does go well. But Dialende in decent form. Jesse Kriel actually playing some very good rugby currently at 13. I believe that is also why they did get the nod. Cheslin Colby keeps a spot out on the left wing. Of course, we did see that injury of Makazole Mapimpi, which did bring back in Lucanio Arm, who has been left out of this side. He is match fit, they have said, but he's still a little bit 50-50 in terms of how they inject him into the starting side when you have got guys like Jesse Kriel who are playing some pretty decent rugby. Kurtley Udinsa out on the other wing, scoring in that first opening game up against the Scottish. And then Damien Valimza at number 15 partners extremely well with Mani Libok, also has been the informed fullback. They've got Vili Leroux off the bench to cover just in case, but for now Valimza gets that start at number 15 in the chat. As well, I'd like to see Eben and RG Snyman start together, says Mark Humphreys, and that is something we haven't actually seen throughout, correct me if I'm wrong, all of 2022. It seems to always be RG Snyman is the man who they would prefer to bring off the bench rather than in the starting lineup. And yes, he's had a real impact off that bench, but I do wonder what it would be like if he did eventually get himself the start. The English going to be sore tomorrow. Those Fijians came hard at them. Says Hansi, yeah, it was a hard-hitting affair between those two and just admitted to hospital, but rugby has to be watched. Thanks for your wonderful commentary. Gail from South Africa. Well, hopefully everything will be all right, Gail. Hopefully you aren't there for too long. And at least Aki and Lowe can play for New Zealand in 2027, says John. And cool, says Alex. And also France is going to be humbled in their own house, says Manus. And also we've got there Go Bok. Make South Africa proud and our power is off, sitting in the bloody dark with the laptop again, says Xander. And chat is so fast, can't keep up today, says Rudy. Yeah, it is flying by. Anyone who is new, though, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. At the moment, we are only 21 away from the 38,900. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it is greatly appreciated. South Africa, or Cup still in South Africa. Airport delays, sorry, says Joe. And up the wires, says Simi and Hamish Bro prediction. I'm trying to remember what I predicted in my preview. I've given a lot of close predictions over this weekend, but I believe I predicted the Springboks to win this game by 5, I think it was, somewhere around there. And Hamish, where is your Springbok tie? Says on the fly, it is, if I had one, it would be green and then it would be see-through. The example I gave earlier on was the Sprite can. It would just show the stadium through myself, if that makes sense. And Hamish, we sing the national anthem with the Springboks, says Xander. I will not know, mainly because, for one, my singing voice is terrible, and also, two, I sadly do not know all of the words. I can play it on guitar, but we will save that for the final, I'd say. Hart gave a 6 difference, Hamish, says Chloe. In fact, Hamish says Dylan and South Africa and New Zealand are the gods of rugby, says Thai Lifestyle, and I know a lot of people are hoping to see that as the final, but the big thing here for South Africa is they cannot underestimate the challenge in front of them in France, because for the French, when we see them playing good rugby, New Zealand know it firsthand. They are a very hard side to beat. I feel sorry for your mate, still up. Now go on, have a rest. I take over the commentary, says Zion. And can I have a subscription? Says Hacker. The subscribing is completely free. All you got to do is hit that red button below the video if you're signed into your YouTube account, and then you will get notified when we upload videos on the channel, which includes our review of this contest. Will be out just a little bit later on. So silly errors lead to giving away penalties, which lead to points for opposition side. South Africa often to blame, says Hillary, and I hope we win. Otherwise, the first day and my new job will be difficult tomorrow, says Marina. Well, hopefully it does go well for you on the first day of work. Your AB stream had 10k in the last 2 minutes, says Simi. Yeah, it was an absolutely insane one, and it was very hard to keep up with the chat on that live stream, as well as most of these Rugby World Cup games. You guys have shown huge support to the channel, so it is greatly appreciated. And yeah, if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are now 8 away from that 38,900. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe. Looking through at the reserves for these two sides. For the French, it is Bougeret, Wardy, and Allegri as the front row. Now, I was mentioning about that impact that we see for Gregory Alvret when he does play for La Rochelle. And another player who is a La Rochelle native, of course, is that man at number 16, Pierre Bougeret. Talfafanua at number 19 with Francois Cruz at 20, then Sekou Machalou 21, Luku at 22, and Mofana starting in as the number 23. So a lot of power coming off the bench, whether that's Talfafanua, Machalou, whose legs are like pistons and just keep pumping, or Mofana to try and offer that little bit more speed and also bit of power later on in the game. For France or South Africa, they have got Dion Fourie as the option at 16, so he will be the replacement hooker, although if Bongio Manambi is going all right, he may even come on as a loose forward replacement. Maybe that is why the Springboks have gone with that 5-3, still having a little bit of cover, and Dion Fourie offering a couple different positions if need be. Osnachet at number 17, he is the only Springbok to have played all 4 matches of this Rugby World Cup thus far. And then Vincent Koch at number 18, recently returning from his injury. He is now back though, raring to go for another match in this World Cup. RG Snyman at number 19 has been a super sub for the Springboks when he makes his way off the bench. Got a brilliant offloading game. We'll be hoping to use it here up against Les Bleus. Quaka Smith, he has been a real impact player as well. 3 turnovers, 1, also 100% tackle accuracy throughout this Rugby World Cup comp. And can go into 6, can go into 7, could go 8 as well. Very handy player to have for the Springboks. Vaf de Klerk at number 21 with Andre Pollard, 22. The 2 experienced men to come off the bench later on in the game, perhaps when the 2 youngins in Ranak and Mani Libok tire themselves out. They'll bring on the stability of the veterans off the bench alongside Villy Leroux, who is getting closer and closer to those 100 caps, but he would still, of course, need all the games left in this Rugby World Cup and some for the 2024 season to be able to get there. Now, I should mention there aren't many games that are confirmed for after this Rugby World Cup competition, although one of them that is Wales versus the Barbarians. I was going to mention it earlier on, but I believe it's in early November. Wales are taking on the Barbars, so we will be covering that game on the channel as well, ladies and gentlemen, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. Kiwi Lads for Life, says the Blue Beast. And I wish Springboks to win. England is waiting for revenge, says the Wandell. And also Hamish playing South African anthem on guitar. In the final, Take My Money, says Ambi, or Happy Home. And also a game will show on SABC Plus and SABC 2, says Hannes, for the options of being able to watch it. And de Klerk is president, says Mark. I mean, he's going to be an important player off the bench for the South Africans. I'm curious to know whether or not they then transition Kobus Reinach maybe out to the wing if there is some sort of injury, or maybe even just someone out of Kurt Learinsa or Gislin Colby aren't doing too well out on that side. Agreement has said, let's stream this channel for 20k today, says Agreement, and I have to say it is hugely appreciated the amount of support you guys have been showing on these live streams throughout this World Cup. It has been way above anything that we expected, and we are closing in on 40,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. And it is all down to you guys, so if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Stick around. We are only now 30 minutes away from the kickoff in this contest. What's the split on the bench for the Boks? So the Boks did go with the 5-3, whereas France have actually gone with the 6-2. Now, we did see in their last game we actually saw the Springboks announce their team first. So I wonder whether or not there was a difference in the way that France selected their bench because of the Springbok selection. We have got there in the chat, start the game, you piece of So anyone who was wondering whether or not I had been sworn at by a South African, perfect example there of it taking place. Willie LaRue should stay far away out of this game, says Ty Lifestyle. And I think it was the choice of whether or not they would go with Willie LaRue off the bench or whether they would give it to Jasper Wiese and go with that 6-2 split. But they decided that veteran experience of Willie LaRue is going to be so important in the later stages of the contest up against someone like Ramos. What's your plans for the channel after the World Cup, says Mark? Well, we go straight into the URC competition. In fact, during the Rugby World Cup, we jump into the URC. We've got the 7 circuit that we do cover on the channel. That'll take us through to around Christmas, with the URC, of course, running continuously all throughout. We've got the Champions Cup in the rugby. Then alongside that, Super Rugby, Six Nations. And then we're back into international rugby once more. So there is plenty more coming on the channel, rugby-based, as well as a couple other sports along the way as well. Can someone please tell me if I can watch the game live on here? Says Nikita, you will not be able to see it here due to licensing, but if you're on the Rugby World Cup website, to the Where to Watch tab, you'll be able to see exactly where you can watch the game, either for free or it may be a paid subscription. And when do you think Pollard will go on? I honestly feel if Marnie Libok is having a strong game, we may only see 20 minutes of Pollard, if not, maybe even less. But I think it all comes down to how Marnie Libok is going and also how his kicking is going, because that seems to be what a lot of people are concerned about. I honestly feel like Marnie Libok, though, his kicking, I think it's going to be fine. I don't want to jinx him, but I don't see it going too wrong at all for him. And I believe with the way that he's able to attack, I think that that's going to well and truly make up for it. Am I allowed to send a streaming link in this chat, or might have a problem, says Alan? I think YouTube have a thing how it doesn't allow links from outside sources that I know of. Anyway, I haven't seen many links in the chat before. And Villiers tired. I should have replaced him with Moody to cover the centre or wing position. That is another option perhaps, or even to a certain extent, like, I know that they'll be keen to give Lukhanyo some minutes at some point, I would think, but maybe Moody would be the better option there, but it wouldn't have surprised me if they had tried to give Lukhanyo some minutes off the bench here later on, just to get him back fresh. See how he's going. I apologise if a South African or two have sworn at you. Most of us are not like that, says Mark, and box to win, says Lissetti there. And guys, let's chill, talk about judo, says Good Story Bro. And also Hamish, if they want to use foul language, they shouldn't be watching here. Where are you enjoying? We are enjoying you and everyone. And also the freed flags from Just Carl. And speaking of France, anyone wondering what they have done throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign? Their first game was up against New Zealand, and they were able to get themselves the victory in that contest, 27 points to 13. A comfortable win in the end, although the first half, relatively close. Not a lot of tries being scored. New Zealand, though, struggling in the later stages, not being able to match what the French were throwing at them. And it was actually the bench for New Zealand that let them down in that contest. Whereas in this game, I believe that the South African bench is looking extremely strong in their game up against the Uruguayans. 27 points to 12. France able to get themselves that victory, doing extremely well, but still having to dig deep in the later stages. I think Uruguay were one of the dark horses of this competition. Not so much for being able to win the comp, but just being able to cause one or two upsets along the way. Their game up against Namibia, it was not close. 96 points to 0. France really being able to show what they can do there. Damien Penaud got himself a couple tries, and then at 60 points to 7, their last game up against the Italians. It's a good way for France to close out their group stages to build confidence heading into this game. Up against the Springboks in their campaign. 18 points to 3, their first game up against the Scottish, scoring the 2 tries, one of Peter Stifter and one of Kurtley Aronsa, and that was actually off the Marnie Libok cross kick that they tried to come. They kept Scotland tryless throughout that first fixture, and also keeping Romania tryless in their second game. Scoreless, in fact, doing it one up more, but 76 points to 0, getting themselves the win over the Romanians. They had their game up against the Irish. That is the lone loss for the Springboks throughout this Rugby World Cup. But they are looking for redemption. Now, they won't be able to get it up against the Irish, as they have been knocked out of the Rugby World Cup competition. But their next game, if they do win this contest, will be up against the English. So they will have the rematch of the Rugby World Cup 2019 final. And then their last game up against the Tongans, winning at 49 points to 18. They scored some pretty awesome tries throughout that fixture. Although Tonga were in it for the fight, they managed to score themselves 3 tries throughout that time. They didn't get a lot of kicks over Tonga. So that was something that was costing them a little bit on the scoreboard, but definitely an exciting way for the Springboks to finish out their group stage, and a nice aggressive Tongan side to match them physically, get them fired up, like I said, and ready to go for this French contest. We have got there, just like Ireland, who were left undefeated during the group stages and losing in the quarterfinal, that will happen to France. Says KB, well, currently only one of the sides that were undefeated in their pool stages have actually gone on to win their quarterfinal fixture, that being England. New Zealand, they were able to beat the undefeated Irish, and then Argentina, they were able to beat the undefeated Welsh in the quarterfinal matchup when it did take place. How many subs did you start with at the beginning of the Rugby World Cup? I believe we were on about 27,000 or somewhere around there, so we have gone up over 10,000 throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. And it is all down to you guys. At the end of the day, anyone who is tuned in on these live streams, whether you're commenting or whether you're just watching, it is greatly appreciated you being here. We are definitely going to be sticking around for a long time. We've got the World Cup, of course, every game of that. And then we've got the URC that we are covering, the 7th Circuit, whole heap of international rugby just around the corner as well. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, I watch every game on my TV, have this channel on at the same time on my laptop. And also we get that, Hamish, are you able to unmod someone who is a moderator? Says Nate. I am, yes. Why? Have we got a problem with someone? Someone being naughty. And also, will the match be streamed here? Says Jaden. Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets us taken straight off YouTube, but we will be doing the play-by-play. I can highly recommend SABC Plus if you are in South Africa. Alongside that, you have got different options around the world. If you go on the Rugby World Cup website, you'll be able to see exactly where you can watch these games. We are, Hamish, says Yvonne, and also you're a good commentator, says Takes. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. Water. Got to be good for you. Anyone who hasn't already, we've only got less than 25 minutes to the kickoff. So if you haven't got your snacks, if you haven't got your water or your drinks, be sure to go and get them now. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of braais taking place in South Africa. Whether South Africa do win or lose this game, the barbecues are going to be firing and some great meals are going to be made. Great commentary. Thank you very much, Guilherme. Hopefully I've said that correctly. I feel like I might have mispronounced that a little bit though, so I do apologise. If you can't say anything good, then don't say nothing at all. Says, I was there from Hansi. And also did Sexton pick up the toys he threw out of his pram before he left France? Says, I am Nutty, who is now back on his original account. And just Carlin mod him, please. And you could please put Roof as a mod, please. Hamish says, Blues, mate. Or Carl, unmod him, please. What did Carl say in the end? Where's he at? I do not see. I'll have to look through a little bit later on, Nate, and have a look. And also we've got their toupees. Countries, says Joe D. And what the hell is SABC Group not wearing their Springboks jerseys? Not even wearing green. Says Honeys, and you're so right, Hamish. Good morning, mate. Back at it again. Pants or shorts today? I have got pants once again, so I had to go with that option. And we can watch the match for free, says Jaden. SABC Plus is one of your options, depending on where you are in the world, though, because there are a lot of different options depending on whereabouts you are to be able to watch the games. And also we have got there, your throat deserves to win the Web Alice Cup at Kiwi Lad. Second the vote for Roof, and yes, mod up Roof and me 3, says Yvonne, because I know that last time I tried to mod Kurd during a live stream, it didn't actually let me. I had to do it outside of the stream for some reason. South Africa, is there a website? So SABC Plus, I believe, is an app. I could be wrong, seeing as I am from New Zealand, so I'm not 100% sure of how it all works in South Africa, but I believe people were saying that there's either an app or a website for SABC to be able to watch, but it does depend on what type of, I think, device you have. I think it works on Android and one of the types of TVs, someone did say, but these are the way that the quarterfinals, or sorry, the semi-finals are sitting currently, ladies and gentlemen. Argentina, they have got themselves a spot in the semis up against New Zealand. That will be the first game that we get to see next week, 8 a.m. New Zealand time at 1:14. New Zealand do come in as favourites, although they have gone a little bit further down with some late money going on the ABs. England have confirmed their spot in semi-final number 2. That will be up against the winner of this game between France or South Africa. And I have a feeling that no matter what happens, we're going to have a good match there, because it's either a rematch of a Six Nations fixture or it's a rematch of a Rugby World Cup final. Then we've got the third place playoff game that has taken place in 12 days, or actually less than that now, about 11 days. And then the last game, 8 a.m. on the Sunday morning New Zealand time. So that'll be a 9 p.m. final in South Africa on Saturday night, the 28th of October. That is going to be one to remember. And at the moment, it is pretty unpredictable to know who will be making their way through to that final, as we still have this game between France and South Africa that could be a massive game changer there. And bot fans, just picture Hamish rocking a Fuff Speed and Budgie Smuggler. No, I thought Carl was my South African brew from Works from Carl. Says Blues Nate, and also how on earth are you still talking after yesterday? You still have your voice? I thought it was going to disappear at the start of these streams, to be honest, but it's still there. As soon as I stop talking, though, it's going to sound terrible, which is why no matter how long I talk for, as long as I keep going, that is why it's going to keep on working for me voice. Hopefully. Anyway, where can I stream? Says Kevin, if you go onto the South African, the Rugby World Cup website, you'll be able to see where your options are depending on where you are in the world. And these sides just playing their second, third place. Says New Zealand for life, and I think it's pretty safe to say the ABs are through to the World Cup final, although we cannot underestimate Argentina in that next game, because at the end of the day, Argentina versus New Zealand, I believe in the last 4 encounters, or the last 5 encounters, I think Argentina have won at least 2 of them, or something along those lines. I know that Argentina have pulled off 2 victories, though, over New Zealand. 1 in New Zealand and 1 in Australia over the last few years. And South Africa must watch their discipline and not concede penalties, says Hansi. And here is a fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa have still yet to give a yellow card or a red card away in this Rugby World Cup competition. They are the only team to do so, if I am correct. I know that Ireland have got themselves one. That is of Peter O'Mahony in the game up against Tonga. But other than that, we have seen no disciplinary issues to the extent of a card for South Africa. So you wonder whether or not that trend will continue in this game, or whether there is a chance that there's just that little mishap at some point with maybe that little bit of extra pressure that is on for this contest that could cause a possible card. I need Biltong, says Sean, and your block pure class, mate. Thanks for your objective commentary, says Aaron Smith. And also we have got there, you'll spank Argentina as long as there isn't a stand in the English ref, and I use the South African TMO, says Bleston. And also we have their lights to 1,000, says Harry. And when is it starting, says Nicole. The game is starting in only 19 minutes time, so we are getting extremely close to the business end of this last quarter final, ladies and gents. If you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I should mention that currently in the likes department, we are sitting on 326. So let's see whether or not we can get to 500 by the end, or in fact, by the start of the game. We will go with what's with Rico giving Sexton grief. Says Crown and Glory Tattoo. I have not seen any of the information. I haven't actually looked at a lot of the outcome of that contest. Haven't seen any press conferences or anything. I've just ended up sleeping pretty much when I've got the chance, and also editing other videos. What nationality is the ref? The ref is from New Zealand. Now, I will mention I am also from New Zealand, but I do not represent the ref, so please do not get mad at me if the game does not go too well in terms of the refereeing department. I think one thing that we've learned throughout this World Cup is consistency still isn't quite there. And hey, mods, I get ready for some beers in the chat. Says Just Carl there, and also I thought my brew from South Africa TV name was Just Carl. I wanted him as a moderator, mistaken for him. Just Carl, says Blues Nate, and get him very nervous, wondering about that kicker, says Bruce. I think that the less pressure that people put on Mani Libok, the better in terms of his kicking. I honestly feel like with Andre Pollard back in the camp, we're going to see a better kicking performance from Mani Libok than we have seen in the past. And even having Pollard in there for a week, Mani Libok came off the bench and kicked 3 from 3. So if he can have close to 100% and his running game is as good as it normally is, I think this will be a tough game for France. But somewhere that France, I believe, have got the advantage is the kicking game. When it comes to the open play kicking, Thomas Ramos at the back, he'll be searching for those 50-22s, although Valimza will be back to cover. But I think France will try and force South Africa deep into their territory so that they can then cause a few disruptions, get them about 22 metres out from the line, and then just go for that rolling maul, see if they can push their way over the line. 2 best backs in the world, they've got to be up there at the moment, these two sides. And also we have got Irish. I'm gutted after last night's exit man was horrible. Hope New Zealand go on and win it, says From Panic to Paris. But yeah, that game was an edge of the seat kind of fixture, and I hope that this one is relatively similar, that it goes down to the wire. Hard one to predict who wins. Looking at it on the, I guess just on paper, both sides, brilliant teams. Both have had good World Cup so far. They've had their moments, of course, where they want to improve. I think for France, their big one was up against Uruguay when they weren't quite able to get that momentum flowing the way they would have liked. And when Lebok wins World Cup, remember Hamish backed him from the start, says RJJ in there as well. And Hamish South Africa going to break up into 2 different countries soon, says John. And also, thanks for the build-up, says Regine. No worries at all. Sometimes the build-up of these games can be just as enjoyable in terms of getting to talk to you guys about what's going to happen in the game. And then when the game starts, it's just all-out action between these two teams. I believe they'll play it at probably a similar tempo to what we saw between New Zealand and Ireland, so there won't be a lot of breathing space in between what is happening. And this game will be very one-sided. France peaked too early, says Xander. Although you'd argue France, in terms of what they've done here, I don't think they've really peaked, have they? Like, yes, they've had a couple big wins here, but that's up against two lower-ranked sides that were struggling for form. Up against Uruguay, 27 points to 12, I would say in no means that is a hiding in favour of the French. And then their game up against New Zealand, it was a good win, but they'll still feel like they've got potential of being able to go back that little bit further up. And I should mention, in these two games, that was without Dupont, who now returns into their side. So I'm wondering what kind of impact that man will have on this French team. We have got their congratulations to Kiwi lads. 2.1k says Roof. And also we have got that Hamish is often wrong with his predictions. I certainly am. That is why you should not trust my predictions at all. I haven't been too bad in terms of my quarterfinal predictions. They are visible here, says Regine. And also you will all see Ireland as 1-0 yet. Again, quarterfinal curse hits Ireland again. No World Cup. Now the greatest team Ireland ever could not break quarterfinal curse again, says Mario. And also we have got, I told you 3 minutes ago, we nearly lost to Ireland with 2 yellow cards and a penalty try, says Spider-Man and keep it rugby, says Gualmi, whose name I've once again butchered. I do apologise for that. And who do you think, or what do you think will be the outcome of the game, South Africa versus France? In my prediction, like I mentioned, I'm never really right with my predictions, but I still feel that the South Africans will get themselves a narrow victory here over the French. I just feel from what we've seen in those games, yes, people will say their game up against Ireland wasn't the best performance, but I think that from that matchup, they've made the changes needed to be able to go well. But France at home are not an easy beat, and I honestly could see it going the other way as well. I think that's the beauty of this quarterfinal fixture, is that either of these sides can win, and it's going to be pretty awesome to see which way it does end up going. And Kwaka makes things happen. And when he comes on, says Hillary. Now, I should mention it is 10 degrees Celsius at the Stade de France in Saint Denis. And also, there is only 10 kilometres of wind. So not quite as much as we did see for for Fiji versus England. That actually had about 35 kilometres of wind. Actually, a shame Ireland is already out. Aussies was the biggest upset this World Cup, says Xander. And also Go the Box says Rise Up. And Power is on, says Derek, are you going to stream the game? Sadly, due to licensing on YouTube, we are unable to do so. YouTube, I don't think you'll be able to find any option to watch the game on here, mainly because all of the streams would get taken down pretty much instantly if they show any match footage. But we will be doing the play-by-play commentary, letting you know exactly what is happening out there on the field up until the highlights do come out after the game is finished for you to be able to watch. But they are just showing Antoine Dupont still got signs of that face being damaged in a game few weeks ago. It was actually that shot coming in from the Namibian. Now they're just showing Antoine Dupont starting at number 9. The one change for France in their lineup. Looking forward to an awesome game of rugby. I think the French will bring the baguette home, says Go Travel. And also not so many handling errors. That because the heat is gone, says Crown and Glory. A little bit. Yeah, that heat wave at the start was very tricky on the players to be able to play high intensity rugby. They are playing in 12 minutes, says Tyrone. They certainly are. And also they say if the host nation falls out, the atmosphere is gone, says Xander. And yeah, in front of their home crowd at the Stade de France, they will certainly want to show up and just tell everyone exactly how strong they could be in this World Cup. But they're up against the defending champs. I feel like whoever loses this game, it's that same scenario as what I said for that game between New Zealand and Ireland. Whoever loses, I honestly feel if they were anywhere else in the quarterfinals, would have made their way through to the semis. But that is the way that the draw worked. The top 4 sides ending up on the same side, which does mean 2 massive nations will be missing out. So far we see Ireland. They have missed. Thoughts on England versus Fiji game? Close fixture between those two sides. Definitely showing that they're relatively even in the way that they've been playing. And I guess that just shows the progression that Fiji have been able to make over the last 12 to 24 months, ever since their inclusion in Super Rugby as the Fijian draw. South Africa. And also all the best box, says Christian. So I should ask, ladies and gentlemen, do let me know, who do you think will score the first try in this fixture? We have got a donation from Blues Nate with a super sticker. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. But the exact player that you guys feel will be able to get the try, I honestly feel like it's going to be one of the wingers. That seems to be the best way of scoring early on in a game. Both sides will probably throw some big forwards up the middle, but I'm thinking Cheslin Colby for the quarterfinals to walk away with the first try, or the man who he's marking, Damien Pinot, if it is a French player who manages to score the try. But we are now less than the 10 minutes away from kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only 60 away from 39,000. So be sure to hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides. For the French, it is Serobai, Pietro Malvaca at number 2, and Yui Antonio to slot in as the number 3. I think France will want to be physical up front, and it's a perfect time to be able to do it here when going head-to-head with the Springboks. Cameron Walkie at number 4, and Thomas Flamand, Fable Flamand at number 5, Anthony Gelange at 6, Charles Olivon at number 7, and Gregory Aldrit to slot in as the number 8. Antoine Dupont and Matthew Jalibert, will be there at number 10. So the return of Dupont since his facial injury. Jalibert, he's been consistently strong for the for the French at the number 10 spot. As you can tell, I'm very nervous for this game. It's going to be a very intriguing one. See who walks away with the victory. It could go either way. I am thoroughly excited to see how it goes. Jonathan Dante in the midfield alongside Gelfiku on his outside. Dante, he's one of the best in terms of those centres of getting over the ball and winning turnovers from open play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets himself 1 or 2 here, but that's where that loose forward trio for the Springboks comes in. The likes of Dwayne Vermeulen having to run around, cover a lot of yardage here to be able to stop Jonathan Dante from creating his opportunities. Belbari out on the left wing, Damien Pinot out on the right, and then Thomas Ramos to close out this French backline at number 15. His kicking game going to be crucial for the French if they are to get it right here. Then looking through at the Springboks, Stephen Kitsoff at number 1 with Bongio Manambi at 2 and Franz Malherbe at number 3. So what the Springboks have consistently gone with throughout this Rugby World Cup, alongside Bongio Manambi going in due to that injury of Malcolm Marx near the start of the Rugby World Cup competition. Eben Etzebeth at 4 and Franco Mostert to slot in as the number 5. Now Mostert's line-out turnovers are one of the best in rugby today, and he will be hoping to get at least a couple, try and throw Pietro Malvaca off his game. Could be absolutely crucial. Sia Khaleesi, the captain, at number 6, Peter Steftotoy at 7, and Dwayne Vermeulen to slot in as the Springboks number 8. It was a question of whether it would be Vermeulen or Jesper Wiese. We actually saw Wiese taken off the field slightly earlier in the game up against Tonga, whereas Vermeulen did play the full 80 minutes in that number 7 jersey, but now moves to 8 for this quarterfinal. Kobus Reinach and Mani Lebok going with that young combo at 9 and 10, deciding it is the better way of going. And Mani Lebok, he offers a lot on attack. Andre Pollard will still be coming off the bench, so they have got that stability later on in the game with Andre Pollard's kicking boot. But for now, they've gone with Reinach, who scored a hat-trick, and Mani Lebok, who can certainly cause some assists as well. Damien Dialende at number 12 and Jesse Creel on his outside at number 13. A solid midfield combo, experience rather than the Easthuizen and Moody combo. Cheslin Colby out on the left wing, Kurtley Arendse out on the right, and Damien Valimza to close out the starting lineup for the Springboks. Massive head-to-head battle, Damien Valimza versus Thomas Ramos in this game. Could be where it is overall decided, but in the chat, we have got a huge amount of messages. I will have to skip some of them, unfortunately, just because of how quick it has been gone. We have got there, I'm French, my boyfriend, South African. No matter the result, we are winning tonight, says Susie. And also, we have got there, my blood is green from Mel. And also, need drop kicks off to school. Or need to drop the kids off to school. We'll be back, says Marco there. Of course, in New Zealand, it is a Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's still evening in South Africa, so I hope you guys have all been enjoying the quarterfinals rugby we have had so far. When does the match start? It does start in only around 6 minutes' time. Dupont taken to the field for the first time since his injury. What state will his face be in? How will the Springboks adapt to having Dupont back up against them rather than Luku? It's going to be a brilliant game, and how can the Springboks use Mani Lebok as their main attacking threat alongside Reinach? And just his face expression says Hannes and Lebok really should have had Pollard on the field, says Ronald. Although I think it's that question mark of did they want to have Lebok in the starting lineup? Maybe, yes, there could be a missed kick early on. Although I honestly feel that Lebok will go all right in this contest. But it's that question of would you rather have Lebok lining up the first kick of the game Or would you rather have him lining up the kick in the 79th minute to win the quarterfinal? Or would you rather have Handré Pollard in that role? I think they'd overall say they'd rather have Handré Pollard as that last minute kicking option. They've also got Willy Leroux to come off the bench for the Springboks alongside Faf de Klerk, so opting for experience on the bench as well, with Dion Forêt, Oxnachet and Vincent Koch as the front row replacements, R.G. Snyman and Juaja Smith, the other of the South African forwards. For France, they've got Bougret, Wari and El Hegri at number 18. Taufa Fanua, a lot of size to him, alongside Cruz and Makalou. So the Springboks, they have got the 5-3. France going with the 6-2. Luku as the replacement halfback. We have no idea whether he's going to be playing 5 minutes or 75 minutes. It all depends on that injury of Antoine Dupont. And then Mofana at number 23, a physical individual to come off the bench later on in the game. Try and cut it wide open and see whether or not he can help France get through to a quarterfinal. I have to say, though, no matter who goes through, it's going to be an epic semi-final fixture. It will be one of these two sides taking on the English. On the other side of the draw, we know it is New Zealand versus Argentina. Handré Pollard says World of Waggle. And also good luck, South Africa, says Master in their chat as well. But I will mention now, before we get into this match, ladies and gentlemen, as they are just having their national anthems, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are 48 away from 39,000. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe. And I hope that is the last time I hear these lineups, says D-Funk. Yeah, for anyone who was new, who was popping in, that is why we were reading them. Where is the Kanyuam? He has returned to the Springbok side, although I believe that they don't want to take that risk with Lukanyuam bringing him back so early, seeing as he has just returned from that injury. I'm not sure how. I think he's match fit though, so maybe we see him in the future get that opportunity for the Springboks. But the national anthem of France at the moment, of course, they are the home side in this occasion, and they will be looking to have a real impact after winning all 4 of their group stage fixtures. They managed to get themselves to win over the All Blacks, and the earliest that they can face them again if they do advance would be in the final. Go New Zealand. And also we have got definitely going to be awesome, and we have got 39k people. Let's go, says Blues Name. Thanks for the membership, says D-Funk. And rock the likes and subscriptions, people, says James. You can hear the Stade de France absolutely rocking, singing the French national anthem currently. You can tell how much it means to the side, as they know this is the opportunity to advance in the Rugby World Cup. But they have got the defending champions in front of them. South Africa, a side that have shown each time that they make their way onto the field that they are more than willing to go deep into the water to try and walk away with the victory. We have got the I'm better off in my room, says Chloe, and go the box, says Hendrik. But do let me know, ladies and gents, your score predictions in the chat as well, as we are only 2 minutes away from the start of this contest. The referee in charge of this one, Ben O'Keefe, alongside Paul Williams, James Dolman and Brendan Pickerel, an all New Zealand refereeing panel for this matchup. We have got there, but everyone's saying he will play in this, says World of Waggle. So yeah, Handré Pollard, he is off the bench. He was one of the players who were added in due to the injury of Malcolm Marx, but the other player who was added in was Lukanyuam from the injury of Makazole Mapimpi. He is not playing in this matchup. And Wales, says Reno, and also any French fans in here. I'm living in Paris a few years now, and it's been amazing seeing all the fans from every nation out here from Panic to Paris, is said. And 30-27 in favour of the South Africans, says James. So going with quite a high-scoring game in that department. You can see quite a few South African fans in attendance for this game, which is absolutely awesome to see. Of course, they have got quite a loyal fan base who will travel all around the world to be able to witness them in action. Khaleesi singing his head off, as we always do see with the skipper trying to lead from the front. He had a phenomenal game up against the Tongans, and he will be hoping to replicate that in this contest as well. And France 13, South Africa 9, so going with quite a low-scoring game. And I feel like that's the two options in this contest. We're either going to have a high-scoring close game or a low-scoring close game. I don't think there's really a runaway on offer for either of these sides. Should go down to the wire. The question mark will be discipline for these two sides. Of course, South Africa, the only side in this Rugby World Cup yet to receive a yellow or a red card, whereas France, they have received a few, and they'll have to make sure they are on their A game here. Scrums for me is going to be a very interesting part of this contest. We see Kitsov versus Yui Antonio, and we see Franz Malharba going head-to-head with, will be none other than, I've forgotten the man's name. The number 1 for France. That's going to really annoy me. I'm going to have to quickly look. Oh, Cyril Bailly. I didn't even have to look. It just hit me in the face. Springboks going to send the pawn back to this bedbug infested hotel, bud. Says JP. Well, the Springboks have to be very careful. And I talked about it earlier on because they can't have all of their attention on Antoine Dupont. Of course, with him being returning from injury and a very world-class player, the Springboks need to make sure that they're not too focused on him and instead still watching the rest of that backline, whether that is the man on his outside, Jonathan Dante, Galfiku, Damien Pinot, because, yeah, Dupont, we're either going to see him find his feet early on in this game or he's going to struggle a little bit, and then that's when the Springboks can be clinical. That's when they can capitalise and try their absolute best to walk away with the victory here. But anyone who is new, like I mentioned, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only now 27 away from that goal by the start of this match. Who's our kicker in the match? I believe the Springboks have gone with Mani Libok, who got 3 from 3 in his last game, so sitting at 100% accuracy in that last contest. So I feel like the concern for Libok's kicking shouldn't be relevant in this contest. I still feel with the fact that he's been working with Andre Pollard throughout the week, I think he's just got better and better, Mani Libok. And with his attacking style that he brings, I feel like he'll be definitely a key player for the Boks throughout this matchup. But we are just about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen, for this contest of the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Now, I should mention this is the last game that we see of the quarters. We have already seen 3 results. The teams advancing: Argentina, New Zealand, and then England versus the winner of this contest, the green and gold versus Le Bleu. We are going, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa kicking off from right to left with Mani Libok. Kicks it high, just outside of the French 22, and the ball almost retained by Damien Valimza, but it's well hung on to by, I believe it would have been Anthony Gelange. Now looking for the kicker behind Dupont. Now I should mention he is going to be wearing that facial mask alongside the scrum cap for this matchup. But South Africa in position on the halfway line. Ibn Etzebeth charges straight at the opposition line. Reinhardt going off to the left. Mani Libok with a big up and under from halfway. Different tactic there from the Springboks. Brilliantly taken by Thomas Ramos. Jeslyn Colby unable to get up and claim that ball. Nice bit of work in the breakdown from Damien Dialende to make it tricky. Dupont now sends it off to Charles Olivon. It wouldn't surprise me if the Springboks go for a counter ruck in the near future, but Dupont kicks it in behind. It's going to almost sit up there for Jalibert. He's done beautifully, and Damien Valimza has to make the tackle on him now, going to the short side. Dupont once again going for the kick in behind, looking for the corner, and it was almost the try for Balbari, but it is going to be Kurtley Arendse who gets back, cuts the ball off. Balbari is saying he has slapped that one into the dead ball area rather than placing it. They might go upstairs and have a look here. No, it's a goal line dropout. Ben O'Keefe, normally pretty good at working out what is happening on the field, and he has said that it was not slapped back by Kurtley Arendse. Instead, he tried... Tell you what, from that angle, it looks like he didn't have too many intentions of putting it down. Kurtley Arendse. So he's deliberately knocked it dead, is the argument, but the goal line dropout is what they will go with. Now nicely taken by Charles Olivon, straight at Ibn Etzebeth. Counter ruck there from Peter Steftatoy, unable to get that ball. Now Gregory Aldret of La Rochelle, running straight at big Dwayne Vermeulen. I forgot how to say an R in there. I think I said Thwaite. Now, Yui Antonio. Once again, another tackle made by Ibn Etzebeth. Dupont going off to the right-hand side. Cyril Bailly building up some steam. Sia Khaleesi cleaned out tough. Dupont wide cut out pass. Little chip in behind. Well charged down though by Damien Valimza. Puts it into touch. And it will now be the line out for the French. But they have started this game at a frantic pace, ladies and gentlemen. Not allowing South Africa into the contest as of yet. But they are defending extremely well. The Springboks to be able to make the important tackles. It's that unorthodox kicking game though from France. It has caused a bit of disruption. We have got there my prediction is South Africa to play the All Blacks in the final. Says Dowie there and go the Bok. And also we have got there Le Blues looking good-ish. Says Cornelius, claimed there by Cameron Walkie, rolling maul now for France, marching forward. In fact, they're jogging past the Springboks. This is one of the most dangerous rolling mauls we have seen throughout their World Cup, just them moving at a frantic pace. Penalty advantage for diving off his feet. Chislin Colby 2 metres out from the line. Dupont short side, quick hands, and Sirobai scores in the corner for Le Bleu, starting this match with a hiss and a roar, and the hosts get on the board first. I was yelling very loud there. But France to score the first try, that is a statement right there. The Springboks not allowed to attack as of yet, but Cyril Bailly, the man whose name I forgot before the game, has now well and truly reminded me with being able to score the first try, but massive rolling maul. If it wasn't for Sia Khaleesi being able to stop that momentum slightly and the feet going out from underneath the French, they would have been rolling all the way to the try line. And guys, look at it on YouTube. There's a channel which basically shows the game. Says Jace Theodos, we're going to go, boys. Says Samuel in there and blown away. Says Race, yes, certainly the start to the match that the French were after in front of their home crowd. And the Springboks, they are up against it now, but that is where the Springboks are normally the most dangerous. When they're up against it, you might need to loosen that top button at halftime at this pace. Says Kerr, yeah, already we have seen about 4 kicks from hand from the South Africans. We saw 2 from Dupont. We saw 1 out wide from, I believe it was Jalabert. And now just a quick hands out wide. Gee, that was quick. You may shout, Average says Chloe. And also, what about Etzebeth? Completely right in the French scrum. Says, I am nutty. And that kick has gone over as well for the French. So that will make the score 7-0. Ramos, it was a tough kick from the sideline, but Dupont, quick hands from Pinot, who would have almost gone over the line anyway, but gets it out wide to Sirobai, who does get there for the first try. And you can see the crowd went absolutely electric at the stage of that first try. No, thank you. I love Hamish's commentary and thumbs up, Kiwi lads, says Alta in there as well. A fast start to this game. Lebok will now kick it high. Nicely taken by the French. I think Dwayne Vermeulen, the player who makes the tackle there. Now Gelange almost getting held up by Damien Delindi. Now Dupont has the decision to make whether or not he wants to run or kick. He will be going for the kick instead. No, in fact, he goes back into the pocket now to Jalabert. Does kick it down towards Chislin Colby, who takes it now inside of the Springboks own half, runs it over the halfway line and tackled early by Flamand. Reinach goes across to Bongyo Manambi, who has dropped that ball, stolen now by Pietro Malvaka. And France once again have got another attacking opportunity. Mistake from Bongyo Manambi, out wide from the French. Ramos to Fiku, who carves through 1 metre from the line now for the French. Jalabert goes off to Gregory Aldrit. South Africa defending with everything they've got. Dante considered reaching out for it. Now Dupont going off to the left-hand side. Etzebeth, that's going to be a penalty try and a yellow card, or is it? No, Etzebeth managed to scoop it back enough that it did go backwards rather than a deliberate knock-on. That is crucial from Etzebeth. He bent his fingers in any way he knew how. Sounds like a weird statement, but it's going to save him what could have ended up being a penalty try. The crowd are not happy, but it is going to be now the Springboks only 2 metres out from the line, and it has gone into touch. France will hang on to it. But Eben Etzebeth there, yes, he has leapt forward like he is a Springbok. Slap that one back. Ben O'Keefe says, play on, it's gone backwards. Already assertive in the calls that he has gone with. The French crowd is not happy one bit. That was close. Okay, and the TMO must have cleared it as well for it to continue and give me a hoist, says Joey. And so close, says Alton. But now Cameron Walkie claiming that one for France on the halfway line. Flamand actually selling the dummy. In fact, it's Belbari. A little bit quicker than the big man Flamand. Gregory Aldrit. Oh, with the pick and go, although he's isolated himself. I think the turnover is going to be good for Dwayne Vermeulen. Just manages to stay on his feet in the breakdown for long enough to get it. Reinach kicks it straight up towards the halfway line. Etzebeth trying to slap that one back. It's gone up to Kurtli Arinsa, and he will run into the corner. They might check, but I believe it's going to be all right. And the Springboks answer back with a try of their own. And it's none other than Kurtley Arendse who has been able to score it. South Africa try scorers. And it is Arendse. The crowd are not happy. Dynamic, and he wins the ball. I believe I just heard from Ben O'Keefe, so saying it is going to be all right. And it is now going to be 6 minutes into the contest, and we have already had 2 tries, one from each of these teams in this Rugby World Cup quarterfinal. And also we have got there, so lucky, says Neo there, and also try and come down, boys and girls. It's only 6 minutes in. And yeah, if these two sides keep this tempo up throughout this whole match, I'm going to feel like I have run a marathon by the end of it. Pressure on the block for the kick. There is. But I honestly feel, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like Manie Libbok in this game is going to be a lot better off the kicking tee. Now, that is either the worst commentator's curse, but this is a hard kick. Like, Pollard is good, right? Or very good. But even this kick would challenge Pollard for a first of the game. But Manie Libbok now, to line it up, to try and get it over for the Springboks and give them that little bit more momentum as this match wears on to the 9th minute. Manie Libbok taking his time with the kick as well. That is something he has been doing. Just taking composure. 10 seconds remaining on the clock now for Manie Libbok. Strikes it. It's coming round. It's coming round. It is over for Manie Libbok from the touchline. And that will make the score now 7 points to 0. That kick single-handedly will boost that man's confidence hugely by at least 50% for this contest. But what a kick from Manie Libbok. Nice name pronunciation for a Kiwi, says Mustafa. And there, but the point disappointed with that one. We have got a donation from Adam there, Robert Van Rooyen, the sports commentator from Christchurch. Robert Van Rooyen. I do not, to be honest. Should I know the name? I probably should, shouldn't I? We have got there, South Africa win this match. New Zealand will win the World Cup. If France win, then they go on to win the World Cup, says Maniac now, deep inside of their own territory. France, taking that clearing kick from the South Africans. That is down towards the halfway line. Brilliant kick from Manie Libbok once more. And go the box, says Benel, so they are starting to get back in. Marina has gifted 5 memberships on the channel as well. Hugely appreciated, Marina. Thank you very much for your generosity. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are now on the road to 40,000 subscribers. So if you do want to help us get there, please do hit that subscribe button. Pieter Malvaka now to line up. His line out throw almost stolen by Etzebeth, but now Dupont goes across to Jalabert. Taken nicely by Yui Antonio. Peter Stitatoy losing his footing in the breakdown. Now Dupont shifts it off to the right-hand side. Now I will mention at this point of the game, we are yet to see Dupont take any contact to himself, whether that's the head or anywhere on the body. Knocked back by France. Aldrit with the offload to Pieter Malvaka. Now that man runs like he's a back, except he's supposed to have the number 2 on his jersey. And there was a knock on though, or was there? Ben O'Keefe says knock on from the French, and it will now be a South African scrum feed just inside of their own 22. Are they being nice to Dupont? Well, I don't think they're being nice to him. It's just he hasn't really given them a chance to be able to hit him yet. But I'm sure if they get the opportunity, if you say to Etzebeth, hey, Dupont's open, go give him a bit of a whack, he probably will. I don't think he'll hold back too much. We have got there, go the box, and also we have got there, the box says Roger, and go the box says Vicky. And they're currently 12 minutes into this intense outing between these two sides, sitting at 7 points apiece. 1 try for each of them. And not nice, he's a scrummy. So he can protect himself, says Aniki. And there as well in South Africa, says Nalula. And Manie says Denny. Yeah, Manie has started this match extremely well. There was a lot of pressure on him, seeing as he was called into the starting lineup rather than Andre Pollard. And of course, that part of the kicking game is something people looked at, saying that Pollard maybe has the better accuracy, but 100% at the moment for Manie Libbok in this contest. Scrum reset inside of the 22. Mostert yelling up a storm at the moment, trying to fire up his 4-pack, get them firing on all cylinders. Franz Mahabra and Stephen Kitsoff, 2 great props for, of course, they've played for the Stormers, though Kitsoff, I believe, is off to Ulster next season, or this season? Next season. In the URC. It is one of the 2 anyway, and we are covering the URC on the channel, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We've got that comp. We've got the 7s as well. Plenty more South African rugby coming up in the near future. So impressed with your pronunciation of the South African Afrikaan names, top notch. You have no problem speaking Afrikaans when you come and visit, says Ronel. And yeah, but ball put in by Kobus Reinach. Now, solid scrum by both sides. In fact, one of the more even scrums we have seen for these two teams throughout their Rugby World Cup campaign. Now, Damian Valimza from inside of his 22 gives that one an almighty boot down towards the halfway line. And that is something that the Springboks have done well so far. The exits from inside of their own 22-metre line. Hey, Hamish missed everyone so much. And there from Adwaslin. It is great to have you here for this quarterfinal. Of course, the semis, we are covering both of them on the channel, as well as the other games that are taking place, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get sick of hearing me say that, but one of the last live streams, I completely forgot to say it for pretty much the whole half of rugby. And Amish, you're an excellent commentator. Thank you. Says Chantel, thank you very much. Now, ball's been thrown in by Pietro Malvaka. Nice and straight. Cameron Walkie, they're starting to move towards the sideline here. Malvaka does have to break off the back now, go short side. Very risky to be that close to the touchline. Now Dupont will go off to the right-hand side, waiting patiently. He's decided to have a run off to Jonathan Dante now. Stephen Kitsoff sees the ball. He's given away the penalty, though, in through the side for Stephen Kitsoff rather than in the gate. Ends up giving away the early penalty. And at the 14th minute, I think they're also saying maybe Bongi or Manumbi in a bit of trouble. They have that, and the quality of the rugby in these quarterfinals is incredible. I agree. I think that we've really had some awesome games for quarterfinal matches that, to be honest, some people felt a couple of them may have been one-sided affairs, but that was anything but the case. Fiji versus England. What a game that was, going right down to the wire. Argentina, if it wasn't for that interception try for Nicolas Sanchez, that one would have been extremely close too. And how many times have France won the World Cup again? Says 9-toed. At the moment, they have got 0. But if there's ever a chance to do it, it would have to be in front of a home crowd. And they know that. That is why there's that added pressure. But the Springboks, the side in front of them, they are the defending champions. And they also have had 3 in the cabinet. But Thomas Ramos, he looks like he will be lining up the 3 points here from 51 metres out. Not an easy kick from the left-hand side of the field. We have got a great commentary. Thanks. I'm in France and watching the TV, but listen to your commentary. It's just too biased for me, says Jason. That's Curlin Ramos, though. It is short. Actually dropped down just before the post. And now Damian Valimza will put that one into touch. No, he misses touch. So now counter-attack for the French. Antoine Dupont going off to the left-hand side. Cameron Walkie. Good low tackle made on him by Damian Valimza. Ramos, in fact, no, sorry, it's going to be Dupont, sees the space in behind. Reinach has to take it. He's inside of the in-goal area. Goes across to Mani Libok. Looks like the Boks want to try and run this one out rather than kicking. And Libok sniping, almost able to go through that French defensive line, but they are now 15 metres out from their line rather than in the in-goal. So should have a lot more chance of being able to clear this one to decent effect. Although that looked like a counter-ruck from Jonathan Dante. The penalty goes the way of South Africa. And over 39k subs. Our next stop is 40. Like and subscribe for this fine gentleman's efforts, says Kerr. And we cannot afford to be giving away penalties here. Both of these sides already probably given away a few too many in the first few moments. Water break for our commentator, says Clinton. Looks like Dante might have also taken a bit of a facial knock. There we go. Water has been consumed. Just showing there, Jonathan Dante. Where's the shot to his head? Oh, it might have actually been a headbutt afterwards, but it was in the motion of trying to get the ball, so I don't think it was foul play, but they're just showing the replay. Ramos, his kick would have gone over if he had put just a little bit more juice on it, but it seems like in both kickers' aspect here, relatively tricky. Get those couple extra metres. Now Dwayne Vermeulen goes across to Reinach Mani Libok, across to Kurtli Arnsa, who manages a snipe almost through Jesse Kriel. Tackled by Damien Pinot. Now Kurtli Arnsa back to Mani Libok. Going straight up in the air. Walkie tries to slap it back. Dialende cleans it up. He's got a bit of pace, Dialende. 4 metres out from the line, round the side, better step to toy, tackled by his opposite number. Charles Olivon now, Reinach short ball, and Damien Dialende crosses the try line for the Bok. He did start the move, he finished it as well. Damien Dialende gets the Springboks into the lead. And that was in the 17th minute of the contest. There were questions. Would it be Andre Esterhuizen and Kane Moody, or would it be Damien Dialindi and Jesse Creel? They went with the more experienced duo, and boy, he has just shown what he can do there. Is the date correct on the scoreboard? It is if you are in New Zealand. But because we're about 12 hours ahead, that is why it's the 8th rather than the 16th rather than the 15th. But Cameron Walkie tried to clean the ball up. From there, it went to Damien Dialindi, who went himself as he saw the gap open up. He was 4 metres short initially, with a great tackle made on him by Charles Olivon. It was actually Anthony Gelange who managed to make that tackle. And overdrive now, says Joe. And also, Box says Sino T in the chat as well. Gee, I think they're going to all have no voice inside and also try, says Eloy. Okay, Ben O'Keefe just having a bit of a chat with the TMO, talking about the space at the lineouts that he wants to make sure that they are getting right. And this is our game, says Face Dead. Now, Mani Libok sitting 1 from 1 today. It was actually a very, very tough kick. Can he get the second of the match? Just starting a little bit too far out to the right. So that will mean that the score is sitting 12 points to 7. Mani Libok sitting 1 from 2. And what does the score say, Zandili? It is currently 12 points to 7. And also, it looks like hard work. But he passed some flying colours, spot on. Oh my good man, says Jingles there. And play for each other, boys. Pick the pace up, says Kingsley. And I will mention anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road now to 39,500. We're only a few hundred away, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't. As of yet now, Damien, or in fact it's Dwayne Vermeulen, charging up. If you get up the mighty Springboks, says Meanaz. Reinach rolling the ball back, and we are already a quarter of the way through this fixture, ladies and gents. Ball's been put high. Damien Pinot, in fact, it's going to be Jalabert who lines it up. Now, Pinot, we have only seen him touch the ball once at this point. That was when he got the try assist to settle by Cameron Walkie, trying to step through Stephen Kitsoff's attempt of a tackle. Dupont again, going off to settle by the lone try scorer for France. Now, I will mention both kickers have missed one so far tonight. Ramos doesn't often miss, but he has in this case. Or Dupont almost tackled by Ronak, but that was the most contact we have seen on him up till date. Now trying to break down the short side. Dupont fires it back across to Peter Malvaka. Flat ball. Gelange looks for the offload. Picked up by Bay. Quick hands from the French. Trying to pick out that next pass. Jonathan Dante runs like a bulldozer. Straight at the spicy plum. Now Jalabert. Pass on the outside to Thomas Ramos. Gives it off to Pinot. Pass on the inside to Dupont, who is lined up and put down on the ground by Dwayne Vermeulen. Now pick and go again from Thomas Ramos. France playing this one with insane ruck speed at the moment. Franz Mahaba makes the tackle on Khaleesi asks, can I take that ball, referee? And the ref says yes, but Dupont just manages to keep it on the side of the French. He's now ended up underneath the breakdown as well here, Dupont. Pito Malvaka round the side, tackled by Malharba. I mentioned about the extra impact that he brings by making his tackles. He's currently sitting about 17 throughout his first couple fixture. Kits off his feet. There should be a penalty to France, and it is. And they take the quick tap. 10 metres out from the line. Passed out wide. Pietro Malvaka scores in the corner. France are back in the lead. I can tell you right now, this game is going to be a roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. So be sure to buckle up, strap in, because we're going to be going on a bit of a wild ride. 22 minutes in, Malvaka now. So far, 2 French in the front row scoring their tries. Aransa and Damien Dialindi scoring the 2 tries for the Springboks. But big crash from Jonathan Dante charging at Stephen Kitsoff. And we have got there, let's go Bok. Now sitting 12 points to 12. And Dupont taking that quick tap, throwing his body at the line, saying, go on then, give me a big shot. And then Malvaka scores it in the corner. And also, we look at these nuts, says Mirion. Amazing, says Minnie Mouse. And also, that was bad defence, says Hannes. Yeah, unfortunately, just leaving that gap out wide. That is twice now that they've been exposed on that wing. That is actually Chislin Colby's side. But when you've got a 1 and a 2 in Cyril Bay and Pito Malvaka running, surely they should have someone out there helping Chislin Colby when he has to go head-to-head with those big boys. A buddy at my house, says Gadget Buddy. And although Springboks look lucky, France look creative. Says, I am nutty and let's go back. Oh, it's charged down by Cheslin Colby. Ramos took too long for the kick, adding a little bit of extra juice on top of what has already been an intense first 23 minutes. But Cheslin Colby cutting off Thomas Ramos, beautifully charged down. Now, we need to remember that moment, ladies and gents, because that could be a game changer later on in the fixture for Cheslin Colby being able to get that charge down off the kick. I want to see a runaway try, says Blues Nate. It's going to be put high now by Mani Lebok. Nicely taken by Charles Olivon, running at Cobus Reinach, who may have taken a bit of a knock on the chin there, but does look like he's all right for now. Dupont rolling this ball back once more. Looks like he will be kicking it downfield off his right boot this time, rather than the left. Etzebeth goes too early. Dupont strategically waiting. Please bring on Hondre, says Stormy. Although Mani Lebok, I don't think he's done too much wrong. Beautiful wide cutout pass there from the block. Out to Jesse Creel on the short side. Now Reinhardt goes to Eben Etzebeth, looping him behind Damien Dielendi. Now Bongyo Mnambi on the short side, or sorry, on the halfway line, I should say. Damien Valimza puts the ball high. It's going to be contested. Ball knocked on by Ramos, or at least I thought it was. Referee says play on. Ramos kicks it in behind, looking for the 50-22, but back there covering will be Damien Valimza. I mentioned that those two would have a kicking battle and a half throughout this quarterfinal. It is beautifully booted downfield by South Africa, although not as many meters on it as Damien Valimza thought. Look at there, they never disappoint, says Avo. But yeah, nice pass from Mani Lebok to start the move. And Jesse Creel actually put in the hand in the face of, it was Antoine Dupont. So just testing out how strong the facial muscles are after the original knock a couple of weeks ago up against Namibia. Look at there, as France won the World Cup before, says Theppo. They have not, but they are looking to do it in their home nation as their first ever. But it will be a tricky one to do. Looked like it was close to a knock-on, but it bounced off the back of the player, they say. So it is play on once more. Settled by round the side of the breakdown. The question mark, I guess, is, does the weight of holding 3 World Cups put more pressure on your shoulders than being in front of your home crowd in this World Cup? I feel like both sides have huge amounts of pressure on them to be able to perform in this game. Eben Etzebeth wrestles Dupont to the ground. It's going to be a knock-on from France and counter-attack now for the South Africans. Kicked him behind by Jesse Creel. Sets up for Cheslin Colby, and he will go all the way, scoring another try. The backs for South Africa are having a field day. The forwards for France are pushing their way forward. But another one, Cheslin Colby. Defence. Is it the fact that it is lacking, or is it the fact that we just got 2 of the best scoring sides in World Rugby today going head-to-head, and just both sides are unable to stop them when they get going? Cyril Bai making the mistake. We have got a new member on the channel as well. Judith, thank you very much. Hugely appreciate it. You're becoming a channel member here, but it's kicked him behind. Cheslin Colby has done well. This is poor. Why can't you show us? Because of licensing. If we show any match footage or audio, YouTube take us straight down. We get sued, and we also get banned for 3 months. So it would be illegal, which is why we are unable to show any match footage. What's happening in this game? So many tries in such a short time. Says Sino T. Cheslin Colby still knows how to finish when he gets the opportunity in the game of rugby, that is. And this game is already intense. And are you not entertained? And update your score, says Nuran. Hang on. Is Ben O'Keefe checking something? We're doing a big zoom in of him. The only thing I can think here would be Cheslin Colby in front of the kicker as a possibility, but I think it is all right. Yep, they're all good. I think they try is good, says Ben O'Keefe. We need urgently try again, and South Africa will dominate, and also a great game for the Box, says Chuck T, and South Africa 19-12, says it was there from F. And French will fight back. Mani Lebok now lining up this kick. He's sitting 1 from 2. At the moment for today. Time please, says Berenice. Currently 27 minutes through this game, and it is flying by, ladies and gentlemen. It seems like this game only just began, and already we're almost towards halftime. But Mani Lebok to line up that kick, bringing it round once more. The kick is good, and it will make the score now 19 points to 12 between these two teams. Springboks emojis in the chat. says Lynn there, and has scored our try, says Lisa. So we have 3 tries so far for the Springboks, Arinsa, Dialendi, and Cheslin Colby, all backs being able to score the tries for South Africa here. And then France, Serubai, and Pito Malvaka, 2 front rowers, scoring the French tries throughout this game. Kicked off long now by France with 12 minutes remaining in this first half. Mostert takes it well, although he might have been almost taken out in the air by Anthony Gelange. They say his foot was down, so it is now play on once again. Can we convert this one as well? Now it's kicked high by Reinach. Doesn't really look to put it into touch. Instead, just boots it high. Nicely slapped back into the hands of Thomas Ramos. Now, he took a big knee from Cameron Wacky, his teammate. That's the last thing you want to be injuring one of your star players who is slow. Get him back up to his feet. Dupont goes short side now. After Damien Pinot with the chip in behind Money. Libok is back to cover. He doesn't get it. Khaleesi also makes a mistake. Reinach 2 meters out from the line. I believe Wacky fighting to try and get that ball, but it will be the Springboks who have got it only 1 meter out from their try line here. Well, that's about 5 meters, I should say. I'm about to sneeze. Oh no, we're good. We're all right. I almost did, but I didn't. We have got there, South Africa, says Andre. And nowadays, rugby is like a luxury item. You have to pay to watch live, says Hendrick. And it's a shame. Definitely around the Rugby World Cup. These games should all be free to air for everyone around the world, because that's the way you grow rugby, by getting more people watching. And one's going to be kicked into touch by Money Libok. Only about 20 metres out from the try line now. The French have got themselves another attacking opportunity, but it was an awkward bouncing ball. Libok went over the top of him, so it was left for Khaleesi, who also didn't quite get it. Is this the highest viewing number you've had thus far? It is not, no, but we are building towards it, and I have a feeling we will be able to break the record by the end of this live stream. So if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 39,500, and we are currently only 200 away. So if you do want to help us get there, it is greatly appreciated. Rolling maul. Looks like it's setting up now for the French. Actually an open play as well, something you don't see too often, although Edsabeth almost had his hands on the ball. Kicked him behind from Dupont, sits up for Colby, and he goes into touch 1 meter from the line. France looking to get that ball, and it will be now a 5 meter line out for France once more. Anytime either of these sides have been in the 22, it's just been frantic, all-out pace, trying to cause the problem. Colby doing well to still hang on to that ball, made sure that he went into touch rather than into his in-goal area, because or else would have ended up in the scrum scenario rather than the line-out. Although rolling more might be just as dangerous here for the French. Malvaka almost going straight through. 2 meters from the line. Dupont off now to the short side. To Dante. Round the side. That's going to be close. France are claiming it. Dante didn't even look at where the ball was. That's another try, though, for France. I think that's settled by once more. He's got his second try of the contest. We've got their shout-out to Stan's father-in-law and Aoi as well. Shout-out to you, mate. And another try being scored, this time by Serubai. He has got 2 tries throughout this Rugby World Cup, and both of which have come from this quarter-final in the competition. This game, how many tries are we going to have in the first half? We've already had 6, and we are only 33 minutes into the contest. But Serubai, he saw his opportunity to go around the side. Damien Dialendi tried to stop him, and then just manages to get that ball on the line. And French will win this, and this is rugby, not EFF. And also we have got there, ding, ding, ding. Quick response again, says Review. At the moment, if you look at the times, Malvaka scored on the 22nd, so Colby scored on the 25th. We saw Colby score on the 25th, so then we see the try being scored here by the French. I should also mention Bongio Manumbi is down with some sort of injury at the moment. That will be a big hit for the South Africans, although we do know that Dion Fourie more than capable of being able to come onto the field and play a very pivotal role in the way that the Springboks play. And also this is what happens when the 2 best fast-paced teams play each other, says Mustafa. Stylistically, it is a dream match, of course, with the way that these 2 sides keep on going. And also, we have got their rugby, please bring the scoreline, says Gadget Buddy. And it seems the priority is attacking at 0 on defending, says Sino T. Now, Serubai was celebrating scoring 2 tries. He had it turned around the other way. Can be considered a rude gesture, but I know that that wasn't what he meant in that case. He was just surprised, as he's now got himself a double in this Rugby World Cup quarterfinal. Kicked off high by Mani Libok. I'm going to be honest. Whichever team defends better in the second half is going to win the game. That's a massive kick there from Thomas Ramos now. Cheslin Colby inside of his 22 will now have to charge forward up to 40 metres out. Trying to step through. Gelange. Missed the tackle, but Olivon was able to stop him. Now kicks off 45 metres out from the line. Mani Libok, 40 from his own line, puts it high with the kick across field. Jumping up beautifully for that one was Peter Steftatoya. Almost used Kurtley Aronsa as a launching pad to be able to get up for it. Kicks off now, 40 metres out, but Dante over the ball. Wasn't able to get it. Dupont there, slaps it away. Mani Libok has knocked it on, just a little bit slippery out of his hands. And there's almost able to get through. Well, this is something to watch, says Nay. It certainly is. And when it's halftime, it is still actually 7 minutes away. So it's crazy how quickly this half is going, but also at the same time, it's almost a little bit of a shame because that means we've only got another about 47 minutes of rugby action. I want to see these two sides play like 5 times in a series. Feel like would be absolutely awesome. Groove Doctor said, "Oi, mate, show us the game." Sadly, due to licensing, if we show any match footage or audio, we get taken straight off YouTube. So we are unable to show match footage, but the highlights will be up on YouTube pretty much straight after the game is over, ladies and gents, so be sure to check that out. Also, if you are new though, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 39,500. We're trying to hit it by halftime. We are currently only 180 away. So if one of you who are watching haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got there the South African flags to these guys. I know the game is 80 minutes. It's not a game of sevens. Yeah, they're playing at a sevens frantic pace. And it's that question of who will be able to match this intensity for this kind of full period of the game. I honestly see both sides having to slow down at some point because we haven't had many stoppages. The only stoppages we're getting is when there's a try scored at the moment. Scrum reset. Just as I say that, we're going to have a couple more resets at the scrum. This match is intense, says Ivan Do Killer, and hardly have time to breathe. And also, Box keep cutting their throats of the box kicks. Says Jama Jakari, and I did actually mention at the start of this game, the Springboks cannot afford to try and play a kicking game up against the French because France, they have shown time and time again that they are one of the best kicking sides, if not the best kicking side in the world. South Africa, where they're dangerous, definitely with the selections that they've gone with Kobus Reinach, Mani Libok. Those are two men who love to attack and love to run the ball. So not being able to use that to the full effect, I feel like it's something that could hurt the Springboks. And this one, they've got Faf de Klerk for the kicking later on in the game. They've got Andre Pollard for the kicking later on. Let these two young guys just go out there and fly forward, see if they can make them a few extra meters. And I, Chris says, John, and go the box, says Gerald. We have got another scrum reset here. Kits off. And Yui Antonio seeming like they're having a bit of a dispute on this near side of the scrum. And Dupont going okay. Dupont's going very well. He has hardly taken contact as of yet, which of course is exactly what France would have liked. The only real contact he took was actually Jesse Crill's fist to his face, but that wasn't like a punch. It was just when he was trying to fend him. What I give to hear what Russie is going to say in the changing rooms at halftime, and go the box, says Maureen, and also bring on Fafo Pollard, says Alta, and there as well. And this game is a finals coming early. The winner of the game is winning the Rugby World Cup, says Mustafa, and yes, says Jaden. Now, chance for Dupont to feed the ball, and already 36 minutes through this game, ladies and gents. And a big push coming from the Springboks in the front row, flattened out. No one gets the penalty advantage. Oh, it is play on. Jalibert now going with the Waikato pass. Pass? I don't know where that came from. Pass is how I'd normally say it. From Belbari deep into the 22. And Balimza does take the mark, and he's called for a scrum. That's unique. How many times have we seen someone take a mark and take a scrum inside of their 22? That's a very good strategy. In a way, definitely if you've got a dominant scrum. I'm surprised we don't see more teams doing that, to be honest. And going, guys, we need subscribers, says Ronald. And there as well. So like they've said, the coaches calling out for the scrum rather than the mark if it is kicked deep. This game has taken years of my life, or taken years off my life, says Tania, and also the mighty friends South Africa, and also go France and keep the ball and run the clock down till half time, says Kerr. And why a scrum though, says Naya. Well, that's the thing. For the South Africans, they can use this as their opportunity to win a penalty from inside of their own 22, also a bit of a launching pad if they want to go for some sort of backline. Is it a smart play? I honestly believe it's a good play from South Africa because it breaks up the play as well a little bit more. So for a fast-paced game, it gives you a bit of a spell. And now the ball's fed in by South Africa. Front row collapses, advantage to South Africa. The tactic works well. Kicked him on from Damian Dialindi. Almost sets up for Jesse Creel. And they will go back for the original penalty. And what a strange decision, although it's proven effective. They have got themselves the penalty. They will now have the line out rather than France having the line out from the halfway line. And as I come on the block, and also we have got the brilliant tactics, said Rodney, and exactly as you predicted, Amish, says Leon. And as I come on, South Africa, come on. And of course, it could have backfired big time. In that case, it could have been a France penalty or anything along those lines. But in this case, very effective for the Boks. Now they've got themselves the line out, or have they? The ball's going to be in the field of play. Belbari keeps it alive. Did jump from outside of the field of play, landed in when he had the ball. So nice bit of work. And now Reinach will kick it into touch, and it's going to be a French line out anyway. So really all that happened was we used up about an extra 3 or 4 minutes to get to the same result. But that could be handy. Only 90 seconds now remaining in this first half. Look at there, your score is wrong, says Mana. Which part of it? Because it is 19-19 at the moment. Is it the clock, the fact that it's on 40? It is a little bit ahead, if that's what you're referring to. Now, Pieter Malvaka, 40 metres out from the line, uncontested by the Springboks, and Waki claims. Now Dupont goes off to Jalabert, flat ball to Jonathan Dante, who's driven backwards by Damien Dialindi. That is two big men who love crashing each other. Edsbev took a bit of a knock on the chin there when Yui Antonio changed direction. No advantage. That's going to be against Stephen Kitsoff once more. That's about the third penalty against him now. Now a lot of pressure on Jalabert. Breaks through the tackle attempt of Jesse Creel, thrown out, and they will go back for the penalty. I mate, you need to fix the score, says Oren, but it's correct. It's the right score. I go there, Springboks, says Lynn. And also, Jesus, a close match. I hope the Bok lift the World Cup, says Rolf. And also go the Boks, ABs versus the Boks final. Just keep it clean, please, Boks. And we should mention, they are still yet to have themselves a yellow or a red card throughout this Rugby World Cup competition. I believe it was the contact between Yui Antonio and I think it was even Edsabeth. Actually, that might have been the contact on him, but Stephen Kitsoff leaving his feet once more. Jalabert getting through the tackle attempt of Jesse Creel. Go to the box, Shishleddy. And also Wahu, and don't worry, be out those guys. They need glasses, says Elton, and also he's just winding you up. It's 19-19, says Brennan. And there as well. It looked like Yui Antonio was a little bit slow getting back up to his feet in this case, ladies and gents. So hopefully he is going to be all right. The last thing we want for either of these sides is any sort of injury concerns. Definitely for whoever does win this game, you don't want to be advancing through to the next stage. Oh, okay. Potential foul play. I believe it is Ibn Etzebeth. Or actually, is it Ibn Etzebeth or is it Jalabert getting hit? No, they are checking Ibn Etzebeth. It was the one that I mentioned earlier on. I mentioned how Ibn Etzebeth took the head knock. I believe the reason he took the head knock might have been because he also made contact. Oh, yeah, it's head on head with Yui Antonio. Headbutt to the nose. Now, he glanced the nose, then it went on to the shoulder. In fact, with the fact that he's dipping, I think at worst this is a yellow. There is head on head contact though, but I don't see this as any more than a yellow card. And unfortunately, like Ben O'Keefe said, unfortunately it does reach the yellow card threshold, even though it did glance his nose. A yellow card for view head on head. He jigs the box, says Yoni, I did a bit, didn't I? And also chick chick bang bang. And also we to watch live for free, says Fabiano. If you look on the Rugby World Cup website, you will get to see the exact option of where you can watch depending on where you are in the world. We've got their box bribe the ref, says Mark, although it's going to be a yellow card for the Springboks here. Okay, Ibn Etzebeth accepts it. He apologises to Yui Antonio, actually goes over to him, gives him a hug, says sorry. Because, I mean, that's the thing. Etzebeth, he's one of those players who will be physical throughout a game, but he doesn't intentionally go out to try and hurt people. Well, not to the head anyway. He might break a rib or two, but he's not going to try and take your head off. So he will be off the field for the next 10 minutes. I believe if that gets upgraded to a red, it would be extremely surprising, but I believe it will stay at a yellow for him. And there as well, let's go the Springbok. And it looks like France, they will be lining up this kick here to try and get a slight lead going into halftime. A discipline, boys, it's late. South Africa is far from France. We want you back with it. It's yours, says Nosipo. And also we have got there, I think, that could be red. Hope not, says Brian. I think the thing that might help is Etzebeth was ducking. And normally if you're standing upright, that gets you in more trouble. But because he was ducking down, I believe that will be the mitigation to say that it will stay as a yellow. But that kick has gone over from Thomas Ramos, which now means at half-time. In fact, we've still got time. No, we don't. They are making their way off the field, ladies and gents. 22 points to 19 after the first half of this contest. Now, I have to say, one of the more highest scoring games of this Rugby World Cup when it comes to two sides in the top of the rankings, but certainly been an entertaining one. Does yellow time run during halftime, says James? It is not, no. We'll have to wait till afterwards. And yellow card means the player is off for 10 minutes, right, says Kaylin? It is. But then there's also the chance that with it being on review, it means that it can be upgraded to a red. But like I said, I would highly doubt that that one would be upgraded to a red card rather than just the yellow. This is something you'd expect on a final score, not half-time, says Mustafa. Exactly right. Send you a first Insta clip with the first half summary, says Kerr in there as well. Is it one that I can view now or should I view after the game to see what you thought? And Rob Red, says Mark Smith. I don't even know if you're watching the game, Mark, or not. I don't think I've seen anyone else say that it should have been a red card other than yourself. And also we have got there, and now my nerves can cool down, and All Blacks defence doesn't let in any of these soft tries, says Onsk. And also I'm stressing so bad, says Claire. And yes, a red card ruin a great game. And also view now, definitely worth it in short, says Kurt. I probably can't view it with sound as the only thing, which would be a little unfortunate. Well done, ref, says Nick James. Wait, for the yellow card, it was just the rule book or the law book at this stage. I actually feel like Ben O'Keefe throughout that first half has done a very good job of refereeing this game because you've got two sides that are extremely quick in the breakdown, extremely good at managing to get the turnovers. But overall, I feel like it's been pretty decent. No sound needed, says Kerr. Right, well, we will have a quick look. Looking through at some of the leaders in terms of what has happened throughout that first half, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, the leading point scorer in this game is none other than Cyril Bailly. He scored 10 because he got himself 2 tries for the Springboks. Franco Mostert, 13 tackles. He has made throughout that first half 74 metres for Cheslin Colby. And also, bro, what's going on with the ref, says Giga Chad. Nothing. Was that not just fine? What happened? And I'll be surprised if it's a red, says Shauno. Yeah, it should just stay as a yellow card for Eben Netzebeth. And Barrett got a red and didn't even touch the head. Says New Zealand for life and go France. Says Shalian, come on the block. And also blatant robbery. They are worse than the English, says HR. What happened? I feel like I didn't watch the same thing. At the moment, we've only had 3 penalties against South Africa compared to the 2 of France. It's been one of the lowest games in terms of the amount of penalties we have seen at a halftime stage of a match. And our defence is leaking dry. Springbok says the human chapter, was that worth a yellow? The thing is, because it was head on head, straight away the law book says if it's coming in at pace, that is at least a yellow card. Head on head straight away gets you in trouble. But in this case, I believe the thing that will help, I see what you mean, Kerr, in that regard, but the thing that helped for the mitigating side of things is because Eben Etzebeth was ducking down. It also glanced the nose of Yui Antonio and then went on to his shoulder. So I believe that is why it will only remain at a yellow card rather than a red. How long is the break? Normally about 10 minutes in between for this one. And these refs are the reason my parents got divorced, says Asylum. Are they? Did the referee steal your mother from him? Sorry, that's too soon. Too soon. It probably happened recently if it's these refs that we're talking about. I think, guys, I think Lebok must get out, says James. And also, how much lower can it even get, says Flaldi. Well, it's still the contact to the head, unfortunately, which does hurt in that regard. And Amish, the ref is fine. I agree, says Paul Spacey. And also, Ben O'Keefe equals Bok. He needs to remember second half. And also, we have got there Win Arinsa is there with Khaleesi. Says Amekwa currently both men still in the starting lineup. Ref has allowed a great game to happen, says Jimbo. Yeah, and I think that is definitely a credit to the refereeing because we saw Samoa versus England. That game took 2 hours and 5 minutes. This game, that was only about a 45 or 46 minute half of rugby, and it was one of the best halves that we have seen throughout this Rugby World Cup because of it. Because it's been so free flowing. And because that's the thing, you don't have to be I guess, an avid rugby viewer or an avid rugby supporter to know that if that was what happened consistently, a lot more people would watch rugby because they don't like to have to deal with going upstairs and checking everything that has happened throughout a half. I know that England versus Samoa game, I think the TMO got involved about 10 times throughout the 40 minutes. That was just a good free flow, and he was attempted to wrap and he was ducking, says Sean. So yeah, it will just be a yellow card. I'd like to think anyway. I'll be surprised if it was upgraded, but now it's in the hands of the TMO. Someone got on the wrong side of the bed this morning, says Brian, and also well done England today. Also Fiji played like true warriors. They did. I think we haven't seen one side in these Rugby World Cup quarterfinals who haven't had some good moments throughout their game. Like Wales up against Argentina, they looked like they were right in the hunt. And oh my, so indeed, says Jacqueline. And also my guys, well, just something, says Naya. And best referee of the comp so far, says Onster. And also we have got there, that card sounds like absolute BS. Says Stan, well, it was head-on-head contact, so that is normally a minimum yellow card. It's going to just be a yellow, I believe. What's the temperature in Paris tonight? Raining yet? It is only sitting at, I believe, 10 degrees Celsius, but no rain in the forecast, so should hopefully stay fine. And also the ref gives all the split decisions in favour of France, although we've only had 5 penalties throughout this game, 3 of which going to France, 2 of which going to South Africa. So we haven't really had enough to base it off, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We need Pollard, says Claire, and also chance for the Springboks second half. You made the Springbok mad, says, no chance for France in the second half. If decided to put Libok in the team, says Donovan. To be fair for Marnie Libok, yes, he had that handling error near the end, but he hasn't been too bad other than that. Overall, I don't feel like he still had quite a few in his favour. 207 metres carried by France throughout that first half of rugby, ladies and gents, with 260 carried by the French, 15 defenders beaten. That's actually 260 for South Africa. 15 defenders beaten for France, 7 defenders beaten by the French. So actually beating less, but still having just a few more points. The other way around. I keep on saying those the wrong way. 7 defenders beaten by the South Africans. And the head-on-head, where'd that go? The head-on-head in England-Fiji game was just a warning, very inconsistent refereeing, says Anwar. Yeah, so I feel like they still want to find that consistency, and the problem is these referees, like, they all have it in a different way. Like, I believe that Etzebeth's one, as annoying as it may seem, like they've said in the commentary, I can hear them at the moment, they've said it was the right call to say that it was a yellow card. It would be disappointing if it is a red, but it still meets that yellow card threshold. Should mention that there were 80 tackles made by South Africa in that first half, missing the 15, compared to the 34 tackles made by France, missing the 7, and there's been 2 turnovers, 1 for the Springboks in that first half. Libok is kicking good to all the haters, says Hannes, and also South Africa always dangerous on the counter, exactly right, and we will take it home, says Kotalano. And there as well, we have got there, one moment, where'd it go? Kiwi lads, I hear folks telling you to rehydrate during this break. Says Annie, I will grab some water at some point. And also won't be a red. No, I don't see it getting upgraded. And it's the best case. And also Bok, you still beat France, says Natasha, and France number 9 is still good. And then number 10, Jonathan Dante and Dupont, 2 key players for France in the second half. We want to see the game, says it was there from Stabiso. Well, unfortunately, it's half time at this stage of the match. But also in the second half, we aren't able to show match footage. We have got there, are you guys kidding? France is obviously going to win. I'll be honest, I watched that first half. I still can't tell you who's going to walk away with the victory. It's gone back and forth multiple times. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently 14 away from 39.5. In fact, I honestly feel we may be able to get to 40,000 by the end of this live stream. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We got there. Ref is for South Africa, says Oscar. I have a question. If both, it seems to be that people are saying the ref is for South Africa and the ref is for France in this game. Does that mean like he's having a decent game theoretically if both sides of the equation think that he's in favour of the other team? Does that make sense? Because I feel like overall, like the fact we only saw 5 penalties throughout that first half, I think shows that both of these sides, they don't really want to end up leaving too much to chance. They just want to play that running rugby. And that seemed to be where the Springboks were more dangerous in that first half, scoring 3 tries with their backs, whereas France, it was when they were using those big forwards to be able to bump their way forward. Makes sense to me, says James. And it means he's having a terrible game. And pissing the whole world off, says Amy. What happened with Edsebeth? So he did end up with the yellow card for the head-on-head contact with Yui Antonio. Now, I believe it will remain as a yellow card, though. And you can see South Africa were not prepared for those soft, over-the-top kicks, says JP. And yeah, that is just the elusiveness that the French offer when they're on attack. They have so many tricks up their sleeve, and Dupont is one of the main reasons for that. The way that he is able to attack is absolutely phenomenal for the French, and ref has made a very good calls, split down the middle, says Menace. A ref doing a good job, says Ons. And as a South African, I reckon the ref is actually quite good, says Paul. It is not the ref, it's the TMO, says Foldy. And yeah, I guess that will be the big deciding point, because at the end of the day, the referee, he has just let the TMO say what the mitigating factors of that is, and then it's now going to be up to the TMO to decide if it gets upgraded. The referee, it is now out of his hands. And can someone please explain to me why Kitsoff contests the ruck was not allowed? It didn't look like he was in from the side, says Justin. Now, he did get a little bit unfortunate with one of those ones that they said he was in through the side, but the couple of the other times that he's been penalised, just going down a little bit too much in terms of not supporting body weight with the other ones. But yeah, there was one that was very close to him getting in. A second half going to be physical, tough and brutal, says Kerr there. And also we have got there, where are these people coming on? Where are these people coming of saying that the referee going on? Where and when, says Meerkat Mob. And also we've got their bomb squabble coming clutch. Although for this game, they have gone with the 5-3 split. The French actually going with the 6-2 in this contest. Faf de Clerc, Condré Pollard and Villy Leroux. That is a huge amount of experience there. Over 200 caps, I believe, between those three individuals to try and change the game late for South Africa if the momentum is not in their favour. They've got RG Snyman and Quacka Smith. I think those two will have a real impact in this contest as well. And then Dion Forêt, I honestly feel like early on in the second half, it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring him on, because as a jackler, he can offer you a lot more in the breakdown than Bongi or Manambi. So I would go with that. For France, they've got Bugaret Wadi and El Yegri at number 18, Tofafanua and Cruz alongside Siku Makalu with that 6-2 split, and then Luku and Mofana, the last two men off the bench for France. And I would say that as long as Dupont avoids any type of bad contact, I think he will continue to play throughout this game. Bok turn on the screws from 69 minutes, take it by 8 points, says Paul Roy. And as we're there, New Zealand is rooting for France, says Kevin. And also second half going to be physical, tough and brutal, says Kerr. Although it's an interesting one for the New Zealanders, isn't it? Because it's either face a side that beat you in this World Cup or face a side that beat you just before the World Cup by a record margin. So either way, you're facing a side that you've lost. But of course, they cannot underestimate the Pumas, and the same can be said about this side of the draw, not underestimating the English for that game of the semi-final. How's Dupont going? He's doing very well. For a man who's just come back from an injury, it seems like he's very strategic in the way that he's playing. And it's almost making him more dangerous, because if he eventually does decide to go for that run, perhaps that will be the big difference maker for them. In this game, the ref's doing a good job so far, says Johan. As a Bok fan who's second team in France, I honestly am sad this game isn't the final right now, says Mustafa. And also replace Kitsoff, says Claire. Oh, so you're thinking whole front row or just two of them? Ref is bad, says Jarvis. What about it is bad, Jarvis? Do let me know. He is 8 meters tall. How must he get down so low? Says SBM. Well, the thing that helps him is the fact that he did duck. Because if he didn't bend at the hips, he would have ended up with a red card. But because he's gone down a little bit. Now, Yui Antonio, because he hasn't completely ducked down too much, that is also the other factor that ended up with Etzebeth getting that yellow card. But he should be back after a while. The referee is shady, says Elliot there. Not clever. He lost at Waterloo. Says New Zealand for Lives. I'm scared. Says it was there from Farello. And also again, both these teams run like this all match, says JP. I honestly believe that, like, with the amount of stamina that these two sides have, they've got a good chance of being able to do so. The chat is going extremely quick though, ladies and gentlemen, so I do apologise if I've missed any messages. We have got the donation from Jimbo as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. And we have got the and the chat, French TV, very biased and trying to influence the game. Says in a circle. Okay. It's just a yellow card. So the yellow card will remain as a yellow, which means that Eben Etzebeth will make his way back out onto the field in the next 8 or so minutes. So because he's ducked down and because he actually hit the nose and then went onto the shoulder, that is why it will remain at a yellow card. The Reds will probably make Argentina win against New Zealand, so France can have an easy game in the final, says HR. And also line judge missed a forward pass that ultimately led to the Colby try. Can't blame Ben O'Keefe for that, says Kerno Weck. And then how are you justifying the ref biased against South Africa when the fault goes unpunished, says Oliver. And there as well, yeah, they're just showing Eben Etzebeth once more. The mitigation means that it does remain as the yellow, but the second half just about to get underway. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you keep up with the chat and the commentary booth? I do not, definitely not on these really large live streams. I do struggle to read all of the chat messages, but we slowly get through. But Jalabert to kick it off for the second half, nicely taken by Franco Mostert, who's inside of his 22. Aldra asking for the penalty. He had to have his hands on the ball to get that one. Now Mani Libok kicks it from deep inside of the South African 22. Now that's a tactic that South Africa have used throughout this contest, is kicking it up towards that 40-metre line. Now going to the right-hand side, man, that ref is something, says Naya. Okay. Now, Jalabert, he's knocked that ball on, so it will be a knock-on. Scrum feed for the South African. South Africa can't afford to let France score. And also we got that one line on the shirt, William Webb-Ellis, still gleaming. And there's LeBlanc. And also you looks the fittest squad, says Clinton. But Jalabert going for the risky kick. Actually ends up hitting it straight into Dwayne Vermeulen's leg. And don't blame the referees world class, says Pan. I feel like there's no referee in this Rugby World Cup that hasn't been criticised throughout a game. To be honest, like I feel like no matter how a referee does manage a game, they're still not going to be praised for what they do. I feel like first half, referee was very solid, I thought. In terms of the way that this game has been free-flowing and the way that he has refereed it, people will be annoyed that there was a yellow card for that one, of course, but at the end of the day, they looked at the rules, and it's just the way that it unfortunately is. It's unfortunate that it's in a quarterfinal that it's happened, but in any other game is normally a yellow card for this Rugby World Cup. Now, Reinach going to have that one available, trying to go to the short side. Reinach shut down. Sia Khaleesi, though, gets the offer away to Chisel and Colby, who's running sideways, decides that he has to kick it himself, and that is now advantage over Belrari, is waiting for that one to go into touch, and it does just that, and he will not take the quick line out. We have got there, go the Bok, and also South Africans crying about one card. Welcome to the party. They were the only side up to this game, to be fair, to have the no yellow cards or red cards leading into this contest. I feel like you've given the perfect insight as a neutral, says Mustafa. Yeah, although then people get annoyed at me for being down the middle, and then they say that there's still some sort of bias that must come into it, but it's not an easy day being a referee. I can tell you that much. Now, Dupont looking to the short side, lined up by Kobeth Reinach, goes for the kick in behind, sits up with Damien Willemse on the halfway line, tackle low by, I believe that was almost a clean turnover. Yes, it was. Flamand doing brilliantly and getting the turnover for the French, who are now on attack once more. Charles Olivon looking for the offload up to Pietro Malvaca, who finds one more to Ramos. Every time they look for that pass, Jesse Creel has left his feet. He was playing that ball on the ground. That could have been a penalty, but the referee does let it slide. Now going for once more here for the French. 20 metres out from the line. Charles Olivon rushed defence from Bongi Manambi, but misses his tackler. Dupont almost lost his footing there. And knock on from Pinot, who was just in open space. Doesn't get it right. Who's got the ball now, my guy? Says, no, it will now be the scrum feed for South Africa after the drop ball from Damien Pinot. Yes, I agree. Excellent self-control, says Kerr there. And also, come on, France, are your only real hope for a Northern Hemisphere win, says Ellis. And I swear if South Africa loses, I'm a go. Christ, says Blade. South Africa never give up, says Bees and Honey. And your commentating is great, says Nelly. Thank you very much. Usually appreciate it. Anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently only sitting the 400 or so away from our goal by the end of this live stream. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that button. It is greatly appreciated. We've got plenty more coming up for this Rugby World Cup. We are covering every single game on the channel. And South Africa fans, extremely arrogant, not going to lie. It depends on the fan, though. Like, I've found so many great South African fans that we've had coming into our live stream. And I feel like they kind of like bring the passion to a game of rugby depending on who's playing. But like with all fan bases, you are going to get a few bad eggs. That's just the way that you're always going to end up with it going. Now, Cobus Reinach going to go to the right-hand side to Damien Willemse, keeps it low and does boot it into touch. Just playing a little bit of the territory game at the moment. Both of these sides early on in the second half. Nundy has said go the Bok and also knock on. That's fair. Definitely should have been a penalty for playing the ball on the ground, says Brian. And Ireland said home, South Africa going home, says Glenn Woods. But now Faf de Klerk will make his way onto the field. That is for Cobus Reinach. I think the French crowd are booing Faf de Klerk. That's a bit rough. They must not like us here. But Franco Moster, he is also coming off the field for RG Snyman. Pollard onto the field for Mani Libok. So the ones who were saying perhaps Pollard should have started, now we are about to see what kind of impact that man could have had in the starting side. Thank you for the pragmatism in your commentary. You're very good, bro. That's a good word. I couldn't quite say that one. Now going to the short side. Dupont with the sniping run. Chip and chase there. It's going to sit up for Damien Willemse, who is just inside of his 22. Bel Paris. Is that a penalty for France? Aldrich gets the turnover and then it's taken straight back. No, it's not. It's back available for the French now. Now only a few metres out from the line. RG Snyman has to make that tackle. Round the side, Anthony Chalanche. Like a few of the South African players and the French forwards were just lying down on the ground there. They were under a huge amount of pressure. 25 metres out. Penalty one for South Africa. Stephen Kitsoff, he gets that one right. Who's saying this is Pollard? Says unknown. And also we have got there, get in front, says Glenn. And the Bockies, you know what to do. Says Zanzili there. And also come on, Box, come on. Says Sasha there. But Damien Dear Lindy is showing him. He's already scored himself one try throughout this game. And in fact, it's been all South African forwards. Or sorry, all South African backs who have been able to score the tries. And what the hell? Says Amanyala. Or Amanyala, I should say. And then if you South Africa will win, says Andre, are we not arrogant? We support New Zealand in their game. We are passionate about rugby. Says Andre, and go the Box, says Kingsley. And also come on the Bok. Says unfamiliar. Looks like now Dion Forêt is making his way onto the field. That is for Sia Khaleesi, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I mentioned that at the start of the game that they could consider going with Dion Forêt as a loose forward in this game. Now, that's not saying Bongi Umanambi won't make his way off the field in this game. We have got there, what is this referee doing? Holy, says Nick. I'm confused. Nick, are you going for the Springboks or France in this game? Because South Africa won the penalty, so I assume you're going for France in this case. And absolute joke. How biased this guy is to the Frogs, says Nick. Me or the ref? Now that's going to be a knock on this time from the Springboks. And I also love the commentary. The best team will be the victor. And also we're going to go Bok go. And also please score, says the Bang. And also CO overrated, says Stefan. So yeah, making that change. Bringing out Dion Forêt. Now I should mention that Ebenezer is still off the field for just that little bit longer. As soon as he makes his way back out onto the field, could have a real impact. And that might actually be when they decide to make a couple more changes for the Springboks. And Bok says Brennan. And also can the haters please leave. And also we've got that big Gonza on, says Jason there. So 2 minutes remaining of the Etzebeth yellow card. I wouldn't blame fans of either side to lose their heads. Where'd it go? Lose their heads and make accusations given how this game is giving everyone heart attacks, says Mustafa. And also missing Malcolm Mark, says Leon. Yeah, he would have been a huge player for the Springboks throughout this campaign. Although, with the Malcolm Marks injury, it meant that Andre Pollard comes back in. So depending on how Pollard finishes this match, could depend on maybe the impact that he brings in. Dupont passes off to the right-hand side. Jalabert, nice step, breaking through 2 tackle attempts. Now off to Olivon. Great low tackle made from Jesse Creel in the midfield on Jonathan Dante, halting the momentum. Peter Steftoy actually almost pushed over by Dwayne Vermeulen. Or in fact, sorry, it was Dion Forêt, his teammate. Cheslin Colby ended up in the wrong place. Dion Forêt, though, in the breakdown, I mentioned about his jackling ability. and they will need to use that throughout the last 32 minutes. Box inside of their own 22, kicking it down the middle of the park, nicely taken by France on the halfway line. Jalabert now looking to run this one back. Damien Valimza misses the tackle. Now around the side, Anthony Jalonge. Now Dupont. Got the options on the left-hand side. Jalabert again with the skip pass off to Damien, but a short ball to Pieter Malvaka. Brilliant tackle by Chisel and Colby. And Dwayne Vermeulen tried to go for the ball. He's lost his footing. Serobai already getting himself a double here. Jalabert finds the short ball to Jalonge. They now move into the 22. Ball bounces out the side, and the Springboks take it back. Franz Malharba having to put in every last bit of energy that he had to get back up to his feet. And France shall overcome. Says Brett, it's going to be kicked in a touch by Andre Pollard though. And it relieves once again some more of that pressure. And you got this boy says Chantel and go for the drop goal box to level up. And also we have got Checkers win code. Says Baloman also come on the box. He's so old I had to Google if he's still alive, says Usher. And also got the frog, says Mark Smith, and also serious pressure from France. There is anytime they're inside of the half of the Springboks, it is very tricky for the Bok defence, but they're doing well in some regards for that because they've been able to hold off. They've had, I believe, a better tackle percentage in this game. Bongio Manambi just having a bit of a chat to the referee, and Ibanitsabeth now making his way back out onto the field. We've got Hamish. What is the Wi-Fi password? Says Braddock. And also, we've got, there you go, says Angela, and sync your commentary up with the live TV. Perfect. Me as a South African, I know how South Africans can blame the refs. The passion is there, no denying that, says Marco. I just hope no matter what happens, the referee doesn't catch any slack from either fan base over this result, because I know that he will. Now, the thing is, he probably doesn't speak as much French as he does English, so he'll probably catch it a little bit more from the South African fan base if that was to take place. But at the end of the day, like, I think he's done pretty well in the circumstances of this contest. Pathetic crowd boo for literally everything, says Amand, and also come on the Bockies. And also they come on South Africa, says Ronnie. And ref is bad, he's on South Africa's side. We had a comment like 2 seconds ago saying he was on France's side. So it's Serobai now making his way from the field. Great performance from him though. Why they take Khaleesi off? I believe that was to have the extra option of Dion Foree of being able to get in those breakdowns, look for those turnovers, and then I guess later on in the half they may look to bring Kwaka Smith on for Bongi or Manambi and then switch them around. Praying South Africa wins because my wife won't give me some, says Lennon. And also come on France from England, and Go Bot Go says William, and now the rolling ball for France Dupont going back across the Galfiku, tackled low by Andre Pollard. And Manambi looking for the turnover. Doesn't work out, knocked on by Stephen Kitsoff, so it will be advantage back in favour of the French. Aldrit has options, but instead decides to run it up to the 22, still going. The La Rochelle, number 8. Pont searching for it in the breakdown. Anthony Jalonge. Tackle made by Peter Steph Toy. Now nice step from Pieter Malvaka. GC Creel once again loses his footing. Jalonge. Tackled by Eben Etzebeth, who is back out on the field after his yellow card. Rita Wardi replacing Serobai in this game. That looked like side entry from Taufa Fanua. Oh, it slipped out of the hand from Kitsoff. And that is going to be the knock on against them. And it will now be the scrum feed for the French once more. Just be happy rugby's back. And also, I forgot, sorry, Water Brother. And also we have got their excellent work, France. And don't underestimate the opposition. It's dangerous. And gets off making too many errors first half. 2 says Tree. Yeah, he's had, I'll be honest, he's won one big turnover for him, which is massive. But now Oxnashire will be making his way onto the field for him. But yeah, Kitsoff, definitely not the performance he would have been after. He's probably had one of his worst games in a while, which I know sounds harsh. It looks like now Villy LaRue, he is going to be making his way onto the field. That is for Damien Valimza. Stephen Kitsoff, he will be off the field for Oxnashire. And then Kwaka Smith, I'm not too sure who will be making his way or who's going to be coming on for him. Whether or not that is Umbanambi or whether they instead go with a loose forward. It's actually Dwayne Vermeulen who makes way for Quacker Smith. Referee is bad, says Jody. And also loads of late nights. That's not water, it's equals vodka, says Jason. And also Dutoy, and also we have got their time left in the match. There's still another 30 minutes remaining. I have to say the second half has been nowhere near as free-flowing as that first half was. The ref making sure the Boks stay in the game. But then, see, both sides feel like the ref's against them in this contest. And like I said earlier on, if both sides think he's against them, then surely that's good, isn't it? Because it's down the middle. Come on, the Bockies from New Zealand, says David the Mod there. And Kitsoff is having a shocker. So yeah, he has been taken off the field now. So Ben O'Keefe just explaining that one, saying that it wasn't a deliberate knockdown to get slapped out of the hands of Dupont, but he did hit the ball. So it is now going to be a scrum bead for the French. We have got there, it's not the ref people, come on, says Aloisa in there as well. I feel like no matter what in a game of rugby, it does seem that there are going to be times that no matter what the result is, the referees are scrutinised. As a neutral, the ref excuse is boring, says New Zealand for life, and France bribed the ref, says Ivan. The ref's doing a great job, in my opinion, says Andre. Yeah, so it's pretty hard to get a huge amount of praise. I'll be honest, I think that this is probably a game that we have seen the most people compliment the ref, which is decent. And also we got there, when the fans get nervous, they blame the ref. Says Brian there, but now another scrum reset. And O'Keefe better ref than Barnes. Says Glenn and no Hamish. Two wrongs does not make a right. Ref is bad, says Leon. But who's he bad for? If both sides think that he's against them, then surely someone's got to be kind of happy, don't they? Rather than both being angry at him. Like, yeah, it's a weird one. Can we stop talking about the ref? I think so. I feel like at the end of the day, whatever happens in this game, there's still opportunities for both of these sides to walk away with the victory. Now Dupont will be feeding in the ball from 15 metres out from the Springboks line. An advantage now at scrum time. Faf de Klerk trying to shut it down. He's been pulled out of there by Gregory Aldrit. Jalabert sells the dummy, decides to go around the side and gets taken down by Quacker Smith. Now Dupont back across to Yui Antonio. Rush defense. Pieter Malvaka almost dropping that ball. Now Galfiku having to dodge the Faf de Klerk. Tackling too high there was Quacker Smith. And over the ball they'll go back for the original penalty. Our ref is favouring the TMO. Says Guerin, also come on the block. We need to defend and come on Fiku. Says Joe D. in there as well. Okay, your loose head went to his knee right at the start, so that is against Oxnechet. And then your loose head, being Vincent Koch, went to his, or angled in at the end as well. It's not the ref's fault, it's all Hamish's fault, says Jody. Yeah, probably. It's easier to blame me, I think. I'll take the criticism better than the referees. And also, geez, boring to blame the ref all the time, says Ockert. And also, we've got there when it's halftime over. It is over for the halftime. And France are actually going to be taking on the 3 points here. Rather than going for the corner, this would extend their lead to 6. And Faf's here is live, says Lynn. I wish I had hair like Faf de Klerk, I'll be honest. Because I know mine's falling out by the time I'm like 25. Some of you will be like, oh, you're not 25, you look 37, mate. But, yeah, I'd like to still have hair like Faf de Klerk when I get to his age. My hair's not blonde, so something would have to change. But, yeah. Really again now, says Naya, and also OMG Willie. And also we have the amazing, says Natalie. And learn from Ireland's mistakes, says Grant. And we need to try to recover, says Isaac. Well, really, Box, says Naya, and take the points. Yep, France going for the 3 here. And Ramos gets it over. That will make the score now 25 points to 19. I thought you were 40, says Crown and Glory. And I'm 30, so yeah, I wish I had that much here, says Marco. I feel like it's a very relatable topic, isn't it, for the guys out there. By the time we get to about 30, the hair is either completely gone or it's working its way out the door. Now Jalabert across to Gregory Aldrit, who does slip over his own feet. And I should mention it's actually still Franz Maharba on the field rather than Vincent Koch. And as we get over the box, and also accept, oh no, that went too fast. I didn't get a chance to read it. And we go on down. Says goal story barrel, though only 6 points difference between these two sides. Still plenty of time to be able to work. Kicked high from Antoine Dupont. Goes into touch. And Kitli Arinsa decides against going for the quick line-out throw. Also, I think you love Fafi, kind regards. Oh, they've taken it quickly. The Springboks now Buff de Klerk waiting for that ball to sit up for him. It did take a little while, but now has managed to regather. It's gone over the top with the loose pass for de Klerk, but Jesse Creel runs it straight as Jalabert. Those two have actually gone head-to-head quite a bit throughout this game. Billy Leroux with the pass on the short side to Cheslin Colby, who cuts back in, but he's isolated. Didn't have a teammate to be able to find that offload too. De Klerk gets his hand back on the ball. Going off to Peter, Steph de Toy. RG Snyman was standing in front of him, but it is play on. Now de Klerk going back to Andre Pollard. Ball's put up high. Cheslin Colby chasing after it. Nicely taken by Kirtley Arinsa, who wrestles it away from the youngster Bel Paris. Good shot from Dupont on Etzebeth. Normally it's the other way around in terms of who's putting in those big hits. Billy Leroux sells the dummy. Tackled by Olivon around the bootlaces. 22 metres out from the line now for the Springboks, and they're up to 7 phases. This is the most that they've had throughout the second half. De Klerk back across to Pollard. Flat ball to Quaka Smith. Breaks through 2. Still gone. The 7 strength is definitely paying off there for Quaka Smith, but Pietro Malvaka, he gets the turnover for France. No protection in the breakdown from the box. They just sat and watched as Malvaka got that ball. Umbanambi asking for the penalty of some sort. Going to get to see a replay here, but I believe Malvaka got his hands on the ball, then flopped forward after winning that penalty. Box, you can't afford to give away turnovers like this right now. And unfortunately, Quaka Smith, the problem there for the Springboks was he made such a brilliant run, and then he had no support whatsoever. I don't know whether that is because of the fast-paced nature of this game. And hey, is this your full-time job? It is not. No, I work as a builder outside of the YouTube channel. We do this as a hobby, and anything that we make off the YouTube channel, we always put back into the YouTube channel to try and make it better. But Jalabert now, and crucial turnover. Vav be replaced if injured? I believe so. Oh, hang on. The kick from Jalabert almost went backwards in that one. That was incredible. Yeah, Pietro Malvaka had it. Who was that? RG Snyman late to the breakdown. Another player, I think that was Franz Malhaber, just flopped down next to the breakdown. Unfortunately, didn't quite get to it. Hamish, what do you build? Says Xander. Oh, a bit of everything. Fences, houses, garages. Bit of concrete as well. I don't really build that though. We pour it. Now Faf de Klerk recently making his way onto the field. I'm looking at Dupont thinking how long are they going to give him for this matchup before they decide to go to the bench. But Dupont now kicking it deep. Nicely taken by Cheslin Colby on the halfway line now. They need another try soon, South Africa. Brilliant stepping from Cheslin Colby, showing off what he did in 2019. And if he can do it again, they may be facing England in the semi-finals. Brilliant quick hands from Eben Etzebeth off to Quaka Smith. Now Faf de Klerk, Bongi Umbanambi. Oh, he's dropped that. It's going to be play on though. Referee did not see the knock on. Now they go back for it. I believe it was the assistant referee who called it. And France will have the scrum. Great commentating and fantastic pronunciation of the French and South African names. Says Hendrik there. And guys, come on, we need that. And Jose Nee says, I don't have the energy for this. And come on, guys, we need that in there as well. But anyone who is new to the channel as well, I should mention, while the subs are being made, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are only around 350 away from our goal by the end of this live stream. So if you do want to help us out, please do hit that subscribe button. Can someone in French talk about the rest? He's definitely not doing the most. Again, and also come on, you guys. Say that I don't have the energy for this and have faced South Africa. And a box at KFC at breakfast. Now their fingers are greasy. Says Bernard. I think it's just the tempo of this game. We've got to remember both of these sides playing it at probably the frantic-est pace that they have had. Where on the field are they? They were inside of the French 22. France looking really good. That Colby dude though, fire. France currently are $1.20 favourites. In fact, my apologies, $1.22 compared to South Africa being $4.40 underdogs to go on and win this game, ladies and gents. Now, South Africa, I believe that is the biggest underdog that they have been, even throughout their game up against Ireland. They were that little bit closer. I can't even eat, guys, says Nolwazi. There, and also we have got there. Colby's speedy, certainly, as he's got plenty of pace, and he has done very nicely throughout this contest to be able to help his side get a little bit on that front foot in the moments when it matters most. We have got there hold on to the ball like I hung on to the soap in the showers. Says Crown, and the stress and anxiety this game has given me, stressing us. Says Sharon, and best weekend of rugby, says Callum. I agree, this has been by far the most intense round of the Rugby World Cup. To be honest, at the start of the round, or at the start of the weekend, it seemed like there were going to be a few one-sided fixtures, but it's been anything but all-out action. Bocky bring it home. Says Young Kello. I should mention there's still 22 minutes remaining as well, ladies and gents, so plenty of time for the Springboks to fire back. A massive push there. Should be their penalty, and it is for the Springboks at scrum time. Massive push. Who's that man? Oh, it's Boogeroo. I thought he was in a Springbok kit. I was thinking, hang on, they look like more like Thomas DeToy than anyone else, but he's not in the squad. Out of the game slowed down so significantly now. I think it's just the fact that it's been a little bit more stop-start. Of course, the subs also being made has affected the way it's been going. 39.6k subs. Let's get the Kiwi lads to 40k subs. Whatever team you support, all for the love of sport, says Jam Gamer in there as well. So yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to a record on the stream for concurrent viewers. So if you do want to help us out, please do hit that subscribe button. RG Snayman messes up at line-out time, knocks it into the hand of the French side. And come on, Bok, and bring on the bomb squad. I think they've already brought on a majority of those forwards. In fact, I think the only player to not come on the field now is Vincent Koch off the whole bench for the South Africans. So they need to make sure they have an impact late here. Oxney looking for the turnover in the breakdown, is unable to get it. Told to use it once here, Antoine Dupont. As I come on the Bockies. And also El Digri's bad, and it's given Zimbabwe. I don't know what's happened there from Dion Forey. I think he tried to put extra pressure on. Taken by Chisel and Colby. And this has been a performance from him where he's really tried to step up. It's just a shame that he hasn't had that much support in the second half. The referee has got in the way of that one, and it is going to be play on now. To take a slight brush off his knee. Felt that it didn't change the momentum of the game, though, so it does continue on. Now out on the wing, Peter Steph-Toy. The clerk going to the right-hand side to Bongion Manambi. RG Snayman slides forward like he is on the water slide. 5 the clerk. Back across to Pollard. Oxney popping behind to Damien Dialendi. Knock on from Billy LaRue. Simple pass, simple catch, but not the case for Billy LaRue there. He's frustrated. It's always going to be that question of would it be him or Jasper Visa that they opted for? Would they go for the 5-3 or the 6-2? I used up a whole asthma pump in 10 minutes. And also thank you so much. Is running faster, or TYM, sorry, is running much faster. And also we have got there, we can't forget our boys' talents. And also having lost the FIFA World Cup in Qatar against Argentina, France wants to win this Rugby World Cup, and Bok disaster, says Craig, and his South African ref is doing very well. Says Andrew de Klerk, and nail body match, says Chantel. It certainly is. I don't think we've had a game that hasn't gone down to the last 5 minutes in this Rugby World Cup so far, which is, oh, hang on. Is there a little bit of something there? Don't know whether or not they want to check that again. I don't think they will. And France are doing pretty good, and as soon as I saw Villy come on, I knew we lost. Says Thorne. And also Villy, and I think they're nervous, says Lynn. Yeah, the nerves will be hitting both of these sides. Looks like Dwayne Vermeulen about to actually make his way back out onto the field. That is going to be a HIA replacement for Peter Steph-Toy, I believe. Now, Umbanambi's asking the question, if that's an HIA, that means that our guy's taken head contact, so why isn't that checked? As the comment there from Bongi Umbanambi. And also over there, Paul, Manchester United comeback. Box arm firing, says Diesel. Yeah, it just seems to be a little bit disrupted at the moment in terms of the way that their backline is working. It seems like the handling isn't quite up to the par that we normally would expect from the Springboks. And my nerves, I've been physically ill during halftime, says Cindy. Yeah, it's a tough game at the moment for both of these sides. Why the F isn't there head on head, says Nick James. Okay, so Dwayne Vermeulen is on the field for Peter Steph-Toy, who has gone off. Because the French were complaining. They were saying, why is he going off for an HIA? But it was because, one of the French players hit him in the noggin, I believe, in the contact. Someone said we've got 18 minutes left, says Lynn. Just over, 18 and a half. Now, ball's fed in by Antoine Dupont. Breaking off the back. He has had a lot of running meters throughout this contest. Now Dupont goes to Jalabert. Puts it high. Contestable. Jezelyn Colby tries to go up, but he doesn't take it cleanly. Instead, Damien Pinot walks away with that one. France have got themselves the knock-on advantage. Back across there. Jalabert goes across to Jonathan Dante. Bumps off the tackle of Umbanambi. Pollard's asking for obstruction, but Belbari now with a bit of stepping. The young left winger. Dupont going across to the right-hand side. Riri Eldred. I mentioned in the group stage matches, France, they were unable to get the bonus point try in 2 of their outings. Could they get themselves a 4th here? It won't get them the bonus point, but it would certainly make a statement. Now Pinot. Onfori looking for the turnover. Just hasn't quite been able to get it. Oxnechet trying to drive down Antoine Dupont. Another offload coming there into the hands of Thomas Ramos. Release from Jesse Creel. Almost gave away the penalty. He actually got slapped by Etzebeth, who said, "Let it go, boy. It's not the breakdown to do it." Trying to keep the Onfori, and he manages to evade. Dupont now, back across to Jalabert. Olivon, space opening up. Ankle tap though by Faf de Klerk, which saved the possibility of the backline movement, and it is a knock-on from the French that leads now to South Africa having themselves the scrum feed. This game has had a little bit involved in it, ladies and gentlemen. We have had moment after moment where it looks like it's going to be going down to the wire. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this last 10 minutes goes. I'm just going to quickly check to see what the odds are sitting at now with where we are sitting. And this contest, it sounds like the second half is in the matrix. Yeah, it's definitely been a less free-flowing second half of rugby, but perhaps that was both sides getting the nerves and getting all of the, I guess, big energy out in that first 40 minutes to then go out in the second and play that little bit more of a structured game, although I think it's almost been more unstructured throughout the second 40, and we need that try, says Meow, and what a break. And there is, I'm stressing so much, says Jardine, and also just as good as the Irish-New Zealand match last night. I would say it's been, I'll be honest, probably first half, I would say, was a better half, but then with the second half slowing it down a little bit more, I would almost say that it's now a close second, but it's still a very good game. And that we're seeing for the quarterfinals. Feeling sick, says Joe. And also our blood is green, says Meow in there. But anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are now only 300 away from our goal by the end of the live stream. We have got currently 18 minutes remaining. They just showed 9 handling errors from France compared to the 8 handling errors from the Springboks. So certainly not as clinical as we would normally see. And my word, says Jardine. And also, we need this, please, Bok. You can't play like this, says Cornwell. And yes, Bozavilli anytime, says Andre. Yeah, I think it's starting to show that maybe would have been the better choice. It's gone down in the front. Free kick here for South Africa. Now, I believe they will opt for another scrum reset. I think Rita Wardy on this near side of the field was struggling. And scrum is called again. Vincent Koch now has made his way onto the field as well. I should mention, recently returning from his injury that did leave him out for the first half of the Rugby World Cup. And time left, says Big Corn Bites at the moment. Still another 14, or back, sorry, a little bit longer, 16 minutes. And also, stop your negativity, we're going to win, says, was there from Lynette. And also, extra thirsty Amish 2 days in a row. So much stress. And also, there should have been a pen, says Jimbo. Now, bugger it. He will make his way on for Pietro Malvaca. And he's just had a bit of a sneeze as he's making his way off the field. He gets hay fever too. Unlucky. Something that I've dealt with on these streams before. You guys will hear me every once in a while. Oh, I'm just going to sneeze. The side Willie creates tries. Creates tries. And scrum again, says Brian. It is once again going to be that scrum reset. And also don't let them take our thing, boys, says Gadget. And no single try yet. So far in the second half, well, says the bang. And yeah, only 3 points scored throughout these two sides in the last 24 minutes. In the first 24 minutes, we had, in fact, we'll say first 25 minutes, we had 5 tries scored at this point of the half. So it just tells you how both sides have really tightened up on the defensive side of things. Big push, advantage this time for the Springboks, so they will get the penalty if they want it. But first of all, it looks like Faf de Klerk going to pop it through his legs to Damien Dialende as the Springboks look to run it out. Here comes Jesse Creel, accelerating well, finds the ball on the inside to Andre Pollard. Moves up to the halfway line. Damien Dialende, that's a dumb choice to kick that in behind, as it's going to give the ball straight back to France. And nicely cleaned up by Antoine Dupont, who was under pressure though, gets back to his feet. And the referee gives the penalty to the Springboks. Right, they're down by 6. You have to go for the corner here, don't you? Or a scrum. They have to make that decision. Philly Leroux, 5 metres out from the line. I don't know what will be the biggest upset. The current champions losing or France losing in their home country, says Marco Brown. Yeah, it's a massive one. Oh, sorry, Marco. And also, we're good there. Springboks are so resilient enough to win in this quarterfinal. Looks like Bongyo Manambi wants the quick tap and go. But there's a drinks man on the field for South Africa, so I don't think they can actually go as of yet. And the man running the drinks out. In fact, I think that might have been the water boy to come on and tell them exactly what the coaches want to see them do. And they've said tap and go is the way to go forward. RG Snyman takes the quick tap, gives it off to Dwayne Vermeulen. How many times have we seen him thrown at the line for the Bulls throughout the URC? And Curry Cup round the side of the breakdown. Quacker Smith within a metre, but still playing under the penalty advantage. South Africa getting right back into this contest. France holding it in. Now de Klerk. Etzebeth is fuming, or at least he's livid that he wants to get the chance to go around the side of the breakdown. No advantage for an offside. Now Faf de Klerk goes across. Here comes Etzebeth. Puts the shoulder out and he goes over Eben Etzebeth. Scores the try. I mentioned he was buzzing for the opportunity to go in, and he's just done that. Getting a yellow card earlier in the game and now getting the try. That will give the Springboks the lead with this kick from Andre Pollard, but they are not over. And they are not out of a game till it's over. Eben Etzebeth, first try of his Rugby World Cup campaign. And it may just be the most crucial that he could have. But Eben Etzebeth, he was waiting for it. He was saying, please just give me the ball. I'm going to run over this number 10. And 25 points to 26. And it is now going to make the score, like mentioned, 25-26 in favour of the South Africans. Now, I mentioned South Africa, they were $5 underdogs. With that try, they become $1.62 favourites. Just like that. And also a long way to go. Yeah, exactly right. And only 1 point difference between these two sides. So there is still a long road to victory for either of these two sides. Get the kick. And he did indeed. The scoreboard's a little bit slow updating. I think it's just surprised at the brilliance and the way that they were able to score that try. And we'll catch up in a very short moment. The Springboks take back the lead. We've had about 6 or 7 lead changes throughout this quarterfinal. It just shows how evenly matched these two sides are. But 13 minutes remaining now. Gregory Aldrit will remain on the field. Here come the Boks, says Nuriev. I think I said that correctly. Quacker Smith, brilliantly done by him. He knew he was in an offside position, so wasn't allowed to touch that ball. Dupont has the ball knocked out of his hands. Goes back to Cameron Walkie now. It's a massive defence coming in from the Springboks, who are now more fired up, and they get themselves another penalty. It's none other than Quacker Smith, the bomb squad, doing their business. And now the chance. Rassi is yelling into his headset. He is, I don't know what he's saying. I think that was corner. No, it might not have been. It's very hard to tell when someone's got their head over, but I feel like he was kind of shouting, corner. No, they're going for the post. I didn't understand him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear him, but they want to go for it from over 50 metres out. Okay, the South Africans moaning about the ref now. Right in the chat. Quacker Smith, the crowd are not happy about it, but Quacker gets over the ball. Wins the turnover penalty for his Quacker ultimate finisher. And that now takes it up to, I believe that's, if I'm not wrong, 4 turnovers won throughout his Rugby World Cup campaign. And the man's come off the bench more times than starting, but that is just the kind of impact player that the Springboks want. I will mention anyone who's new, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we are only sitting 280 away from the subscriber goal. Pollard from 50 plus has got it over, and the Springboks extend their lead by 4. The difference a couple minutes can make. They went from being down by 6 to ahead by 4 in only a matter of moments. And the Boks go from behind to the box seat. Pardon the pun. Kicked off long by France. They need to get back into this very soon. Sekou Machalou. Brilliant tackle made on Dwayne Vermeulen. The turnover is good. South Africa take the ball back. In fact, they did still have the ball. I don't know what Keith was saying there. Maybe France had it for half a second and then they gave it straight back. He was saying posts. Okay. Or points maybe. In that case, now Faf de Klerk kicking it deep. Ramos on the halfway line has a decision to make. He looks like he's going to try and run this one. He's got Damien Pinot on his outside, but shut down. Runs out of space. Near the far touchline. Booger it now. Tackled low by Quaha Smith. Trying to get a little bit of counter-rucking going as well, just to cause a bit of disruption for Antoine Dupont, who I believe will be playing the full 80 minutes now. I don't think they are going to be taking him off. I love you, Amish. Says Matthias. Now Galfiku. 45 metres out from the line. There is still a chance we see 1 or 2 more lead changes before the end of this game, ladies and gents. Now on the halfway line, France slowly getting driven backwards, but they don't want to give up the ball, so instead they go for the chip and chase. It's going to be beautifully taken by Jalabert. Missed tackle attempted there by Andre Pollard. Now Reda Wardy, new advantage. That's going to be for offside against the Springboks. Dupont goes Ramos with the cross kick. Colby will take it in behind. 21 offside, never back. That is against Faf de Klerk, ladies and gentlemen. And come on, guys, says Naya. And also there, Boca, says Mix. And then also, I love it, says, it was there from, where'd it go? That went very, very fast. I have lost that message. I do apologise to whoever read that out. Or sorry, whoever wrote that out. I'm crying. Says Anga there. And game done now, please. We've still got 10 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. 10 more minutes of stress. But should be a very enjoyable finish to this contest. Both sides are still in it, just like all of the quarterfinals. The winner of this contest will take on England, but it was the little chip in behind from Thomas Ramos that caused some problems. Jalabert getting the better of Pollard in that exchange. And South Africans cheat, says Mandrea. And also, there's a record in the chat, not quite, says, but we are probably about 200 away from a record. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for every game of the Rugby World Cup. France are taking the points, so that will get them within the 7. Well, they're already within the 7. They're only 4 down, but that will get them within another 3-pointer. So that is why they have opted to go for the 3, 25 metres out in front of the post. Is this the right decision for Les Bleus, or could it be their downfall? Kicked over the post, though, making the score 28 points to 29. And still a 1-point game that has potential of easily swinging in either direction. Like I said, they just want to get out of their own territory here. Another change being made by the French. And that's going to be Jalabert to go off the field, and that is for Mofana. Oh, that's interesting. Who's going to play 10? I guess Ramos might have to transition to that 10 jersey. I know Mofana doesn't play a lot of 10 throughout his career. Now, Ramos, deep inside of his own 22, the Springboks, they will look to play the territory game, I would assume, throughout the later stages of this matchup. That charge down kick making the difference now, says Kerr. Exactly right. Only the 2 points difference in this contest, or the 1 point difference. Cheslin Colby, I feel at the moment he is man of the match if South Africa get over for the victory. That one's been kicked into touch by France. About 35 metres out from the try line now. And make the last minutes count, France, says Mandrea. And what time does it finish, says Sir Frankie. Will be finishing in 7 minutes' time. So we're right down to the business end, not just of this quarterfinal, but of this competition. Someone is going home in 7 minutes. It's either going to be the defending champions or it's going to be the host nation. But either way, there's going to be an upset. Now, RG Snyman looks to roll forward now with the Springboks. Bongi Manambi. This is beautifully worked by the Boks, and they wouldn't mind a penalty advantage if they can find one along the way to get them back ahead by 4. Now de Klerk. Oh, Manambi's just jumped down on the ground. Is this going to be a... No, it wasn't a turnover. I wasn't sure what Umbanambi was doing. Rather than playing the ball, he was trying to get the penalty drop kick from Cheslin Colby. It's gone away to the left-hand side, though. So it will be a 22 dropout. He was playing halfback as well. Cheslin Colby just decides to go with it. Pollard was actually in the pocket, though. He was back there waiting if it was needed. And this game is super intense and stressful, says Atricia. It looks like Umbanambi is now injured. So they will have to wait to see what the extent is of that injury. The Pond wanted to take it quickly, but with Umbanambi down, it means that he is unable to. And while we have got this stoppage in play, ladies and gents, be sure to leave a like and subscribe on this live stream. I actually have a quick look to see what likes we are sitting on. We are currently sitting on a total of 1,334. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. We are back for every game of this Rugby World Cup, and we are only less than 200 away from our subscriber goal by the end of this matchup. We have got there your prediction for the winner of this match versus England. I'll be honest, like both of these sides have played a very, very strong game of rugby. Yes, there's been a few penalties along the way, but they still, I feel, would both be able to beat England in the semi-finals. And that is a bold call, but I believe it is the case. It's sucking in so hard right now. Where'd that go? That disappeared. There it is from Aluvi. Now, we got a stoppage in play. Sounds like we're going to have a replacement. Currently still 6 minutes remaining, but Bongi Manambi will make his way from the field, and that is going to be for Peter Steph the Toy, who makes his way back out. That is a massive player to bring on due to the Bongi Manambi HIA. It's kicked out on the full from France at the 22 dropout. Unforced error there. Well done on the commentating. This is awesome. And also, I have to subscribe to you now, mate. Brilliant. Love your commentary. Says from Panic to Paris. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. My blood pressure is very high. I think a lot of people's heart rates are just a little bit higher than they normally would be at the moment. Still 5.5 minutes remaining. The momentum tracker. It was a sea of blue in that second little period early on in this half. But since then, the Springboks have been able to fire back, find their momentum once more. There's a scrumpy now for the Boks on the 22. If we end up seeing a penalty in their favour, then the Springboks will have a massive decision to make of whether they go for the 3, which I believe they would in this case, because that would force France to have to go for the posts. And also out on the full, says Brian, it was indeed, and go Boks push, says Michael. I think the Springboks have been the more dominant side when it's come to scrum time as well. I believe they've won a few extra penalties throughout this contest. Faf de Klerk to feed the ball in. 5 minutes remaining. The winner faces England. The scene is well and truly set. De Klerk waiting for that one to pop out the back. The Boks want the penalty advantage. They've been told to use it to go off to the left-hand side. Damien Dialendi. He already scored 1 try in the contest. It was the second of the game. If they can score 1 more and convert here, the Springboks, they will be through. With the amount of time left are fresh. Peter Steph the Toy back out on the field. 10 metres from the line now for the Springboks. Dion Fourie tackled by Jonathan Dante. Does have to leave him alone now. Vincent Koch, 10 metres from the line for the Springboks. Faf de Klerk going to the left-hand side. Ebenet Sabeth gets his ankles taken out from underneath him. Faf de Klerk looking to the left-hand side. And now Oxnashire, a man who has played every game for the Springboks throughout this Rugby World Cup. And he wants that to continue, having 7 in total if the Boks make it to the final. Pollard popping back into the pocket, I think. Faf de Klerk just passed it. What's happened there? Faf de Klerk has tried to milk the penalty. I think he passed it into his own player. And it's a scrum feed now for the French. Faf de Klerk, rather than going back to Pollard in the pocket, passes it into the back of Cameron Walkie and trying to use that as a way of getting the penalty rather than just passing it back to Pollard. Referee wasn't falling for it, and that is a massive moment now in this game. I love you, Bocky, says Angela. He's passed it straight into him, says Ben O'Keefe. He could have gone around him, but instead decided to try and get that extra penalty. That is that experience of Faf de Klerk, but it's also possibly the downfall. Khaleesi's going, he's in the way of the ball. Certainly controversy near the end of this game. He needs a haircut, says Andy Surfer. You're talking about Faf or you're talking about myself? Because I am getting one this week, because or else you guys will give me a whole heap of stick heading into the finals. And damn you, Faf, says Son there. Now only 3 minutes remaining. We are now 75 away from the goal as well, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Big push there early on. It's going to be now a reset in favour of the French. The crowd really starting to have their voices heard. And also not the first. Faf de Klerk gets tried throughout his career, says Peter Wild. And also we have got the ref, says Monet, although it depends on the referee for whether or not you can milk a penalty in that regard, because we've seen some referees will blow that saying, yes, I've got to give it, but other referees will say you have the option to go round them, so that is why I will not give you that penalty. And that's what's happened here. He's had the referee who said, nah, I'm not letting you milk that one. You could have passed it anyway. We have got there, Fiji got pinged for that against Wales. They certainly did. Frank Lamani twice tried it and got in trouble, I believe, twice throughout this Rugby World Cup. So didn't manage to get the penalty in either case. Now another scrum reset. 2 minutes remaining and the time is off now. Looks like the front rows are going to have a bit of a conversation. To Ben O'Keefe, your commentary is excellent. My nerves go Bok. And there, got money on the game. Come on, Bocker. And also Viva la Box, says Godfrey. And there, I'm pushed, says Brennan. And let's go the box, says Chelsea, and game over, says Sandra, child of God. And no man, just blow the whistle and let the game end. Rassi is shouting into his headset currently. He knows that this is the moment that might determine whether the South Africans advance in this Rugby World Cup or if France can somehow pull back that one extra point that they need to then get themselves through to their home semi-final. The winner of this game will take on the English. 1 penalty to go, says Lucky. It does look that way. Next one will be a penalty. I don't think it will be a yellow card, but it will certainly be a stern warning to both of the sides. And scrum penalty, please, and this ref made some questionable calls, says Chuck T. I'll be honest, I overall think that he's been pretty decent throughout this game, Ben O'Keefe. It's a tough game to referee as it is, with two sides that are playing as frantic and are as clinical at stealing the ball in the breakdown. Oh, Dupont just tried to feed the ball into the scrum, and I think he hit his player's leg. But now Gelfiku going on the outside to Belbari. One more to Damien Pinot, one-on-one with Colby. Finds the offload on the inside, and Gelfiku dragged down 40 metres from the line now. France will have the last attacking player of the game. The Springboks cannot afford to be offside. Edsebek tries to get on the ball. Vincent Cock picks it up, and it's taken back by the Springboks. Quacker Smith, he's got a Dupont on his ankle, but he will hang on to this. But just that little bit longer, 90 seconds remaining for the South Africans. It looks like they want to close out with a few phases, but they are still close to their own goal line. Sitting about 42 metres out. That is a kickable 3 for Ramos if they give away a penalty. But it does look like for the last minute and a half, the Boks are willing to just take contact. Or are they? This looks like de Klerk is actually considering still the possibility of a kick. And it looks like he will now go up for it. Faf de Klerk does kick it high. The last possession of the game will now go to France if they can retain this. It's knocked back by Belbari. Swing and boot by Cheslin Colby. Doesn't get hold of it. Damien Pinot. There are 50 seconds remaining on the clock now, ladies and gentlemen. And now Dupont going back across the Roman Talfa for Noah. Looking for the turnover. South Africa almost penalised but not rolling away. But Dupont has got it available. Galfiku goes across now to Jonathan Dante. Big man Sikou Makalu, the Stade Francais representative. Now back across to the right-hand side. Rush defence from the Springboks. There are 20 seconds remaining on the clock, ladies and gentlemen, and France are in possession. Cameron Walkie receives the inside ball from Dupont, who has played the full 80 minutes as well. Very impressive performance from the brilliant halfback, Damien Pinot, carving up the middle, but he is taken down. Cheslin Colby looking for the turnover, doesn't quite have the arms long enough to get the turnover. Dupont offloads it up to Ramos. This is the last chance for France in this contest. If South Africa get the turnover, they will win this game. If France get themselves a three-pointer or the try, they will walk away victorious and move on to a home semi-final. Peter Steph the Toy looking to contest. Does get shut down by Cameron Walkie. Now Dupont. It looked like for a second they were considering the possibility of a drop kick. Alpha Vanua. Quacker Smith on the ball. No, they've been told to leave it. So France have still got the possession. It's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. Redo Ordi just sitting still. Driving now, ripped out of his hands by Faf de Klerk. Kurtley Aronsa kicks it into touch and the Springboks advance through to the semi-finals. A rematch of dreams up against the English. The Rugby World Cup final is coming to life next week. Etsabev is smiling from ear to ear. The French side at home will be knocked out of this Rugby World Cup, but the Boks down by 6, got back ahead by 4, and then just managed to hang on to it to the final moments of the fixture to walk away with the Springbok victory. Wow, that was a bit of a fun finish, wasn't it? Dwayne Vermeulen consoling this French side. We did Chile, says Lulu, and also thank you, Box, says Michael. And also we have got there, yes, let's go. And Wild on the Box says, lucky and stressful game, says Joseph. It certainly was, but one thing is for sure, and that is that the Springboks have made their way through to the next stage of this Rugby World Cup competition. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. We are one subscriber away from 40,000. So if you do want to help us get there, you want to be the 40,000th, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I have been hugely appreciative of all the support over these quarterfinals. We have still got 4 games remaining of the Rugby World Cup competition, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, it will be Argentina versus New Zealand in the first semi-final. That will be taking place on Saturday night, South African time. In fact, Friday night, South African time. And then the game between the Springboks and England, the old foes, going head-to-head once more. That will be the contest taking place at the time of 8 a.m. New Zealand time, 9 p.m. South African time. That is on Saturday that it will be taking place. What a game, says Denzel. And to be honest, what a round of the Rugby World Cup. No game for certain who was going to be pulling off the victory, but we've seen 3 Southern Hemisphere sides progress. We have seen England manage to get themselves through ahead of the Fijians, but every game which edge of the seat stuff that was hard to predict, that was very stressful to call at times, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have actually shot up 300 subscribers since we said to hit that subscribe button. So please do hit it again. We may even get to 40,500 by the end of this live stream. But we are back for every game of this Rugby World Cup. We are doing our predictions of what the Springboks will go with in their next contest as well. That will be coming out on about Tuesday. We have got the donation from Sunny as well. Thank you very much, Sunny. Hugely appreciated for your £5 donation from Sunny and Judith. And also Nusuda, I hope, for the final. Is it just me or is there no sound? You might have me turned down, perhaps. In that case, and come on the box, says Thurley, and they go on to the next stage. Every game of these World Cup quarterfinals were stressful. I think everyone would agree, but we have seen 3 undefeated sides going into the quarterfinals, now knocked out. Subscribe, we on 40k, says Okello, and there as well. And we have got there, we did this, oh Lord, thank you. Says Celebrity, I'm crying, says Nolawasi. And also your other man of the match says Clinton. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, being here. And of course, like I mentioned, we've got plenty more rugby commentary coming just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new and you did enjoy what was possibly, that's the thing, when you compare these 2 games that have taken place in terms of between the top 4 sides in the world, it just shows how evenly matched these teams are. Because New Zealand and New Zealand and Ireland split by 4 points. Going down to the wire, New Zealand getting the victory. South Africa versus France, going down to the wire, split by 1 point. But I believe now the South Africans will go to number 1 in the world on the world rankings. Brilliant game, well done, Bok, well played, France. And thanks for the great commentary, says JHC. And what an awesome game, well done, boys. Ishmael Nerve says Prashina. And also, we French just lost by 1 point of difference. And also, well done on 16K, says Anelli. Yeah, this live stream has been a record setter, ladies and gentlemen, which has been absolutely incredible. We are back once again for next week and the week after when we see the Rugby World Cup semis and the final. Alongside that, we are doing the URC very shortly on the channel. So if you are a fan of South African rugby, of course, that is the place to be for those matches. Hamish, we're outstanding. Well done on the official World Cup commentator. Says, was there from, that disappeared. That's like 50 messages up. That's how quickly this chat is going at the moment. Another Southern Hemisphere triumph. Amazing resilience from South Africa. And great commentary, thanks. And we reached 40k subs, says Justin in there as well. But yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Completely free to do. And you will get notified when we upload videos, including our review of this contest that will be coming up on the channel straight after this one has finished. We have got that. Thank you, Springboks. Well done. You make our country proud. France has been sent home, says Desmond. And well done, Springboks. Keep the ball in there. Where'd that go? Keep the ball in there, Hank. Just like Nas both has said. This chat is going insane, by the way. That was like 20 messages and then 20 messages. It's gone again. Okay, that message, I believe, was something along the lines of keeping the ball in the hand, but it just kept on going and going again. Quacka is so underrated. Absolutely. Quacka Smith is a game changer off the bench. That man does more in those couple minutes than some of the players did throughout their 80 that they were on the field, which sounds very harsh, but I believe Cheslin Colby will have man of the match for this performance. A brilliant performance from him, who is the one subscriber market. Well done, boys. I was close to my prediction. And thanks for the great commentary, says man. But where England, Bok, are going to finish. You're next. What was my prediction for this game? Was it 29-25 in favour of the Springboks, or was it 28-24? I believe it was something along those lines, though. I wasn't a mile off. Now loosen the tie, says Tim. And there, yeah, I feel like we can take a few deep breaths, enjoy the environment that has been these Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. I'm shaking, I'm struggling to type, says Claire there. And also, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm so happy South Africa won, says Game. And also, we get in my nerves, says Justin, at 1 point is all they need. And holy mother, my heart was all or literally beating in my throat tonight. What an incredible but nerve-wracking game, or nerve-wracking game. Proud of you, my Bok, says Natasha. And also imagine going out of the World Cup because your conversion attempt was charged down criminal, says Kerr. And the fact that you bring it up again, I completely forgot about that. But we need to remember, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Kerr for mentioning it. Cheslin Colby, not only did he have man of the match from what he was able to do with the ball in hand, but he charged down Thomas Ramos' kick from the touchline. Charged forward, blocked it. If that kick had gone over, France 30-29. So the fact that Cheslin Colby was able to stop that. Have they given Bongi or Manambi the man of the match? Surely not. Have they? Okay, I don't think so. He is the player of the match. Well, fair dinkum. I did not realise. He was probably, like, I'll have to watch that again. I didn't even think he was in, like, my top 2 or 3. I saw him drop the ball. I saw him give away a penalty. But obviously, I was looking at the wrong things for Bongi or Manambi. We have got there, Cheslin, it's a go. Says Justin now, and great commentary, thanks, mate. And also thanks, Hamish, excellent as always. And I forgot about that charge down, says Justin. So yeah, massive job. And what? Says Clinton, you are. Says Tracy there, and Bok, bring it home. And also, we all knew that South Africa would win. Well, I think there were a few nervous people near the end of that contest. Leon Ferre and Quacka Smith made the difference, says Sergey. And also, Hamish, how are the French fans taking it? Well, I don't speak French, Joel, so I'm not too sure. But I assume, like, at the end of the day, there was always going to be controversy around this game, no matter who won. I feel like it's just, in a quarterfinal playoff game, there's going to be passion, there's going to be aggression at times. But at the end of the day, it was a great game of rugby to watch between the two sides. Thank you, Handman. I love your commentary. You're one awesome guy. A nice job, Bok. And also, we've got there South African Power and Quacka. And there says Dion, and also Heart Attack Stuff. And also, we've got another donation from Sunny DeVille. It's been awful. Yeah, health-wise. But this happy, says it's Sunny in there. So I am glad to hear that you did enjoy this contest. It was a fantastic game. And yeah, I guess with that said, I've just realised I've been slouching the whole time. I don't think it came through the microphone, but I think it just clicked me back into position. Thanks for your commentary. You have a few South African fans now, says Christo. And yeah, I'm hugely appreciative of not just, of course, the South Africans who have been tuning in, but everyone who's been watching these live streams. I mentioned about it at the start of the World Cup the thing that makes these live streams so special is having you guys here. Like me just doing commentary, like it's not the same as having the interactive side of things, of being able to talk to rugby fans all around the world from, I think we've ticked off over 200 countries. And is there even 200 countries? I can't remember how many countries there are. That's my homework. But we've had a lot of countries ticked off. Love your commentary. Says Justin there. And also we have got there from Edward 6 for breakfast after this game. Well, fun fact, I'm single, so that's not happening. But I guess I get to do some editing, which is, some would consider that as good as, no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. And also South Africa, then New Zealand, then Ireland, then France, world top 4. And also you put in New Zealand on the map. And also, bro, half my family is South African as I'm a Kiwi. Says love Orange. Well, it's hugely appreciate you being here. I'm sure you'll be happy with the result for both of your two sides there. And maybe they could meet in the Rugby World Cup final just around the corner. All Blacks versus Springboks final. Hamish call, says Lee. I called it from the start of the competition. I did predict every quarterfinal correct so far. Although I did accidentally put Argentina through to face the All Blacks rather than All Blacks versus Wales. I did it around the wrong way. But I did predict it correct, just put the wrong team down. Does that make sense? In the video that we did of predicting the whole competition, that is what happened anyway. We have got the donation from Sonny. You sir are a top bloke. Man, Jed have loved this World Cup, says Sonny. And also we have got there because you're brilliant, Hamish. Thank you, says Stormy. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated for your generosity. There's 195 countries in the world, says Templar. Well, we have invented 5 countries and we have ticked them off as well. I should have known that. Been watching any rugby till this match, and I absolutely loved it. Keep killing it, mate. Says EJ Kibble, and you're good sport, mate. Thank you, says Lucas, and also Greg Quacher and Colby, awesome. Also a great penalty kick by Pollard. Meters made 100 away from the 1,000 for France in this contest. 884, 565 for the South Africans. Tackles missed, 42 tackles missed by South Africa, something they will look at as a possibility that they need to really work on. At one point, you had over 10k people tuning into this game. Yeah, it was absolutely insane, that is for sure. But now, what we will be doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we will be closing out this live stream. We will be filming our post-match review, where we look through at what happened in this game, looking at the stats and everything along that line. I left the chat after you read about the 100th time someone moaned about the referee. I stopped reading those stupid comments. Says Andrew, to be fair, I did stop probably roughly after you did do it. But it was a massive game, of course. I haven't heard too much about the refs after the game, which is ideal. But then that may depend on, of course, who has won the game. I aged 10 years tonight, says Chantel. Rock on the box, Watermac, show the box. And also DuPont can go practicing kicking. And new subscriber, good commentary, says Nolawasi. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated as well. And also the donation from Arthur's heart attack stuff for the Bok. And Fiji was right by the French referee. Says Aziz, although it's one of those ones that when a game is that close, there are little moments that can easily go either way. And I think that we've pretty much just seen in all 4 of those quarterfinals, all the sides are so even in terms of who they matched up with. Now, the top 4, they look like the top 4. The bottom 4, or the next kind of 4 in the world rankings and whatnot, like they did look good as well. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We have got there. Thank you again, Hamish. I'm off to bed. I'm exhausted, says Candace. And also Quagga the Swiss Knife Smith. And also South Africa is the GOAT, says Soda Snap. And I learned to breathe through my ass during that game, says JB. That's quite the talent, isn't it? Probably not ideal for anyone else in the room with you, but still a skill. Well done on the pronunciation, bro. Says Pan. It was a tough ride home, boys. And also France gave us a super physical game, though. And thank the Lord for helping us. And also good night from us, says Ronel. And there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Reda Wardy, you can see the disappointment on his face. He knows how close they were to going through. What's up, bro? We won. It was a good game. I think the New Zealand ref was going to shoot us. Thank God, says Shabir. And also time for work. Damn, at 6 a.m. already. Says Curse. So hopefully you do have a great day. And Tute said, did I ever tell you you're my hero? You did not know, but I'm very flattered for that compliment. Will the ref be punished? Where'd that go? Will the ref be punished? Ref made some very poor calls. I honestly didn't think he was that bad in this game. I don't think there's a referee in World Rugby who would have done a better job today than Ben O'Keefe did. That's a bold statement, by the way, but I don't think there's a referee in the current rugby landscape who would have been able to referee this game as Ben O'Keefe did. First half, one of the most free-flowing halves of rugby that we could have expected when seeing these two sides go head-to-head. I think if you put someone like, let's use some names, Wayne Barnes, I think he would have butchered this game. How you like them apples? No, it's a bit rough, isn't it? But yeah, I think Wayne Barnes would have struggled to be able to keep this game rolling the way that he did. I think that in terms of the other referees, Matthew Reynel, of course, he wouldn't have been allowed to do it because he, of course, is French. And also, I almost cried, says Claire. And I also tell my boss I want Mondays off, says Edward. And also, France played bad. And thanks, Hamish, sleep nice. The ref wasn't that bad. Should have consulted the TMO more, says Justin. And also, good night, Hammy, going to sleep now, says Honeys. And also, it'll be nice if people... it would be nice to have a non-English speaking ref, says Nicholas. And also happy for South Africa, and the ref was so good. As a Frenchman, South Africa was so exhilarating to play against. And also, let's stop complaining about the ref. He did well under the pressure. I agree. And like I said, I feel like out of any referee in the World Rugby pool that they've got at the moment, that was probably the best that it could have been refereed. Because you're never going to get 100% correct in a game of rugby because it's similar to most things in terms of the scoring of MMA and similar to, I guess, anything that really happens. It's all to do with how you look at the game in terms of, it can be perspective that changes how you think the game went. And spot on, Hamish, Barnesy not qualified, says Lee. And also we have got there, ref was bad, he was trying to help them win, says Andrew. Is that why he didn't give a deliberate knockdown from the South Africans when it was Kitsoff slapped it out of old bloody, what's-his-face, Dupont's hands? There were moments in the game that could have gone either way. Everyone will agree with that statement in terms of the fact that little moments can go either way. But overall, at the end of the day, both of these sides, they played their hearts out. They got the job done. If players are revived for foul plays, or if players are revived after foul play, why aren't refs being fined for dumb? That's because in that case, it still met the yellow card threshold. Just because something isn't upgraded to a red doesn't mean it's not a yellow card. It just means that it's not going to be upgraded to that next stage. It's so for that one head-on-head between Eben Etzebeth and Yui Antonio, yellow card. In the law book, head-on-head, yellow, but it doesn't get upgraded to a red. Doesn't mean it wasn't a yellow. Still a yellow, but doesn't get upgraded. On to Rassi and Neighbour for selections as well. And we won by a point. People, please realise this, says Christy in there as well. And sadly, Hamish, too much obvious errors from ref, says Adida. I mean, I'd love to see a list, to be honest, because there were things that he missed as well in terms of what could have been called that weren't. There were things that were called that I feel were straight as they needed to be. I'm so happy. What an awesome win. Go all the way now. And Box did it, says Victor, and Humble at their own home. Says Manus and the Northern Hemisphere will be preparing new proposals about how they need more investments. And shout out Kiwi lads, says Shane, and there as well. And also cheers guys, says Marius. And also we earned at least 2 more scrum penalties, says Paul Roy. And also don't cry for me, France. I want to charge down my Colby. Exactly right. I feel like the thing is, yes, people can look at refereeing in this game, but how about instead of looking at the refereeing, you look at what these two sides were able to do in the game outside of that. Chesil and Colby charging down that kick to then allow the Springboks to win that game by 1 point. Some brilliance in the first half. We had about 6 tries in the first 30 minutes of this contest. And I don't want people to take away from that because this was an epic game to watch. And I feel like if you're looking at it from, this could have been called, this could have been called, you won't get as much enjoyment out of the match. As it was, from a neutral perspective, it was a brilliant game of rugby to watch. And I hope that the game in the the semi-finals will be just as entertaining as this one. After being thanks for the commentary, the referee wanted France to win, but he failed. He must be sent home, says Silas. And also like Argentina would do better than New Zealand. Respect Argentina, you have done well. And also, well done to France. What a performance. Unlucky to lose that game of inches. And it's always the ref every game. Says Jordan, at the end of the day, you're not going to change people's opinions on what they've seen. If anyone wants to know the stats for the game, I can tell you right now there were 6 penalties conceded by both teams. So, maybe he was against both of them. There was 1 point difference. Both teams played well, says Nicholas. Exactly right. At the end of the day, Like, it was the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. The ref was killing us, says Kingsley. But did you see what the Springboks did? I feel like I'm not going to win this argument, am I? In terms of saying that both sides, even though some people don't agree with certain decisions, like, where is the praise for what we saw from the likes of Chisel and Colby, from Jalabert? Brilliant performance from the number 6. Dupont, he's got a broken face, and he came back in and managed to help his side almost pull off the victory. And also, I don't go for gaslight fans complaining about the referees, though. I do feel like sometimes they be doing the most. Says Lynn, our referee was good. Says Christian, I love South Africa, and we love you, Hamish. Thanks for the commentary. Says Xander, and there. And also, how important was that charge down? Yeah, absolutely crucial for Chisel and Colby in that one. And also, this is a great game, says Rudy. Yeah, very good game. Great way to finish out the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup as well. And yeah, hopefully, semi-finals will be just as entertaining. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. AI ref, although then people complain that it's been hacked. That's like the VAR, or not even the VAR, just like that offside that they have in football, how it's automated and people still argue with it, even though it's literally like technology, and they'll still say no. So an AI ref wouldn't actually help anymore because people would still say that the system's broken or they didn't call it the right way, they didn't program it properly. It was a brilliant yet tough game. Congratulations to the bot. We love you, says Nora. And also the South Legendary next week is going to be big. And Springboks are the gods of rugby, and it was a close game. Still proud of the bot, says Leanne. With so much pressure, there will always be mistakes. Both teams can have pride in what they accomplished, says Pan. Yep. Great game. France, yes, they'll be disappointed, but there's nothing to be disappointed about in terms of the way that they performed in this game. I think that they still were extremely strong, and they showed why they were one of the top contenders going into this Rugby World Cup. The substitutions from South Africa made the difference. Exactly right. The men who came off the bench, looking straight at Quagga Smith as the main one, who was able to completely change the game around. Go South Africa National Union Rugby Team. Bye, Hamish, love you, says Alina. Yeah, nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road now to 41,000 subscribers, so if you want to help us boost just that little bit closer to it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But thank you all very much for being here. We are going to be back with the semi-finals next week. The two matches that are taking place, New Zealand versus Argentina, and then also alongside that, I've got South Africa versus England. We've got previews, reviews, lineup videos all throughout the week, including where we try and predict what will be happening in the game or in the lineup selection for these Springboks as well. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.